Welcome everybody to Warden Law near Sunderland in the northeast of England for round one of this year's Wera Tools British Kart Championships for the Rotax and the Honda Cadet categories. Now they say that this is the place where champions are born. This weekend we're going to see the birth of many a championship campaign as the drivers get themselves going, scoring points to ultimately at the end of the season hopefully be the British karting champion. Great field here this weekend. Over 170 drivers are with us here at Warden Law across those 5 categories, 4 of them in Rotax, and a much stronger Honda Cadet field as well here in 2025. Today, Saturday, bright conditions, perfect racing conditions as we go into the heats. Those all-important first race of the weekend, get the drivers going and get themselves in a good position for finals day on Sunday. You can watch every single moment of racing here with myself, Andrew Mather, Henry Beaudette on commentary duties and roving reporting duties as well. It's all to be watched here on our Alpha live stream for round one of the Wera Tools British Kart Championships. And a very warm welcome once again here to Karting Northeast, to Warden Law for the first round of the Wera Tools British Kart Championships for the Rotax and Honda categories. My name is Andrew Mather. Henry Beaudette, unfortunately, not quite with us at the moment, but we hope to see him in the not too distant future. But good conditions, as we say, here at Karting Northeast. Clear skies. Looking for some really hot racing today for the heats. Looking through across the course of the day, you can get in touch with us in those YouTube comments already. Good afternoon to Charlie Longman Racing. Here is your circuit for today. 1,200 metres in length, 12 corners, bit of elevation change along the way. This circuit established in the mid-90s in 1996. And a real favourite for some of the drivers. A bit of everything around this circuit. As we say, the weather is pretty good. Scattered clouds at the moment, but the temperature's rising across the course of the afternoon. Clear skies, bit of wind over the circuit. The wind is meant to pick up tomorrow, but the weather forecast that we had at the start of the week for rain, that's not turned out to be the case, which is very good news for us all here in Sunderland. As we say, we are getting ready for the heats, the run of the order for today. 11 races in all. We'll start with Minimax, the heat for groups B versus C. All of these groups have been determined by time qualifying sessions earlier on this morning, of course, in the early part of the afternoon. Senior Rotax will be race 2, again a B versus C race. 2 races from Junior Rotax, which is our biggest entry here this weekend. So 2 races from them, A versus D, B versus C. Micromax and Honda Cadet, they have a single grid for each category, so they'll be going through to race 6. And then we'll also have again Minimax, Senior Rotax, 2 runs of Junior and Micromax to bring us to the end of the day. Here's a quick look down the very busy paddock here at Warden Law. Sam Pollitt racing off to the left-hand side there. Jag Rotax back once again, of course, with their great assistance and customer provisions to many of the drivers, many of the teams here in the Wera Tools British Kart Championships paddock. Coles Racing to the right there. We had a little pop into their awning last night. A much bigger presence for Coles Racing this year off the back of their success in 2024. Good to see a well-established name within this paddock starting to grow in numbers once again. KR Sport are back, of course, as well. We've got a number of very strong drivers here this weekend. We're going to be talking about them in the battles with the traditional favourites, the traditional top-running teams, the likes of Strawberry Racing, Dan Holland Racing in there as well. I see some of our officials getting ready for the first set of races here at the paddock. If you are in the local area as well, you are more than welcome to come down, but please be aware parking is very tight at the moment. So if you can make your way to the circuit without using a car or get someone to give you a lift, that would be the best way of making yourself getting yourself to the circuit here to watch the racing this weekend. The home team, of course, on the right-hand side of your screens, Hunter Motorsport. What can they do this weekend? They've got good hopes in every single one of the Rotax categories here this weekend. And as I say, we shouldn't forget the Hondas as well. Really good to see a strong field of Hondas, more karts than we had
won 2 weeks ago, actually, at the Honda O Plate. So really looking forward to them later on. There is also a view up onto the new balcony. We always see something new when we come, or at least recently when we've been coming back to Warden Law for various races over the past couple of years. There's always something shiny and new to enjoy. And this time round, it is, of course, the continued developments of the new pit building here at Warden Law. Now with this lovely balcony for folks to watch the racing from. You'll find lots of the mechanics up there, keeping an eye on their drivers across the course of the day. Supporters of all the drivers, over 170 drivers here this weekend. So full credit to Warden Law, to the Karting North East team, to Paul Bainbridge and everyone involved. Great to be back here in Sunderland. Racing coming soon. Minimax 950 will be the first heat. We're going to take a short ad break. Keep it locked here on your Wera Tools British Kart Championships broadcast. So we start things here at Warden Law with Minimax 950. Here is your grid for the first heat. This is groups B and C facing off one another. Those groups determined by the order of timed qualifying earlier on here today. Edward Haynes starts on an all-strawberry racing front row with the new O-plate holder Max Jolly alongside for this first heat. Tom Reed, the farmer, starts on the inside of row number 2 as Josh Cormack for company, one of 4 seeded drivers racing this year and staying in Minimax 950 for 2025. Riley Morrow and Lucian Smith, 2 drivers that we've seen in the British Championships before, moving up now to Minimax 950. They've had a bright start. On row 4, the former Honda Cadet champion Ryan White is joined by Logan Rolfe. Max Wheatley and Joshua Cook start on row number 5 for their first heat of the championship season proper. James Roots and Alfie Ward will go from row number 6. Austin Gibson, very familiar name of course to those watching in the IAMI categories, now racing here this weekend in the Rotax categories, is joined by another one of the graduates from Micromax last year, Maximilian Aberhart. That's row 7. Last year's Micromax champion Luke Millward starts alongside the driver he just picked to that title at Wilton Mill last autumn, Austin Oman. So the battle resumes there on row 8. Row 9, Sebastian Behrman is joined by Benjamin Lorne. Problems for Lord in qualifying. A snapped track rod arrested his progress in that one. Harry Radcliffe and Soren Gallagher go from row number 10, completing the top 20. Achille Giannone starts on row 11, is joined by one of the new boys, Aidan Hammond, a rookie for this year. That's row 11. Max Gilman and James Devereaux start on row 12. Good to see Devereaux back. Had a fairly hefty off yesterday in free practice, but is racing here today. Fraser Anderson and Christian Sanguinetti starts on row 13. It's a 27-strong field completed, yes, by Oliver Spencer, a DQ, a technical non-conformity for Spencer in timed qualifying earlier on today, is the reason one of our 4 seeded drivers from last year starts at the back. So for the drivers, 10 minutes plus 1 lap to negotiate in this one. This is the first of 2. Well, it's almost like 1.5 heats worth of drivers. Group A do not race, of course, in this one. We'll see them later on today, but that contains the other. If there is a driver you're particularly following, we've not just read out there, it's more than likely that they're in Group A. Meanwhile, here with Groups B and C, we're ready to go racing at Warden Law in the beginning of Heat 1 in Minimax 950, and it's a good start for Edward Haynes. Through the first couple of corners, has held the lead in the early stages. Max Jolly there in second place. I think it's been a good start as well. It has been for Riley Murrow, who's gained at least 2 positions off the start. There's a few spins at the back. I think Achille Giannone is involved. Aidan Hammond in the 150 for Global Karting was involved as well. Josh Cormack's on the move in the number 9 there. The purple, blue and white colours of KR Sport, of course. Keep an eye on Josh Cormack, another one of those seeds staying from last year at this level. Down through Gasworks. This is going to be a key part of the circuit for all categories across the course of the weekend. Very rubbered in track surface here at Warden Law is what the drivers have been telling me. It's been good conditions. There's been a lot of private testing here over the last couple of weeks in preparations for this first round of the Rear Tools British Kart Championships, and the drivers are putting those conditions to good use right now. So end of lap 1, Haynes leads from Jolly. Still a Strawberry Racing 1-2. Riley Murrow for Sam Pollitt Racing is there in third. Tom Reed now with SFR Motorsport. In their awning in the west paddock is P4. Lucian Smith running nicely as well, completing the top 5. Through the Dunlop chicane, there is the 147 of Ryan White. You can see now ahead of the 144 of Lucian Smith. 2 of the seeds going toe-to-toe there. Tom Reed actually falling down the order a little bit on this particular lap. Can be a circuit where if you get out of the groove, if you lose the flow, very tricky to get back in amongst the pack. You've got to be patient sometimes, and occasionally that means you can lose positions. Meanwhile, Haynes, Jolly at the front of the order. Looking nice and comfortable right now. All these drivers. First of 2 heats across the next session, this afternoon session and a little bit tomorrow. Everybody trying to ensure that when we get to the super heats tomorrow, that they're in that top 34, not leave themselves with too much to do to ultimately qualify for the final on Sunday afternoon. Moves further down the order. That's Ozzie Gibson going down the inside. Nice move there by Gibson. I think that was on Logan Rolfe for 8th place. Logan Rolfe, one of the rookies, hasn't done a full season of the British Kart Championships before. So those are the drivers with the black number boards on your timing tower on the left-hand side of your screen. A little bit of a look there by Lucian Smith to try and find a way past Ryan White. Ryan White, who's joined up with Hunter Motorsport for this year. Looking for a good start to this championship season. Wasn't quite able to defend the Honda Cadet title last year, but did show flashes of speed that took him to the 2023 title. Now having moved across into the Minimax 950 category, it's been a decent start for the driver there in the 147. Here's an attack from Lucian Smith, another driver who had a very strong second half of 2024. And more moves like that will see Lucian Smith continue to grow with confidence, you would feel, in this Minimax category. That was a good overtake through Gasworks, puts Smith up into 4th place. So through the first couple of corners here on lap 5, 6 minutes of this one to go. Looking a little bit further down the order, Austin Owens made some good progress. He's up 5 places to P11. Oliver Spencer, it's not a surprise to see Spencer coming through the field using his experience from last year. He's now up to P16. I think the aim for Spencer really in this one, try and get into the top 10. You're getting top 10 results in these heats, you're looking pretty good for a comfortable run through the super heat and into the final on Sunday afternoon. James Roots in the 1-2-1 there is your fastest driver on circuit. New colours for James Roots in 2025. He's joined the Global Karting team. And they've got some strong drivers, not the biggest of teams, but they've got a lot of quality in that tent here this weekend. So we'll keep an eye on the progress for Roots and Co. Maximilian Abrahart, now your fastest driver out on circuit. He's currently in 13th place overall, but a 53.12 is good pace from the driver. 3rd in Micromax last year. Bit of a squabble going on here. Once again, it's James Roots involved. Tom Reed as well. I think Josh Cormack's managed to break forward. Yes, he has. You can see the Scottish driver wearing the colours of St Andrews there on the top of his helmet, has got through and is into 6th place. James Roots having to work really, really hard here to hold off the number 10 seed from 2024, Tom Reed, and Austin Oman there as well. We mentioned that he had made good progress through this field. He's now up into the top 10. It's a gain of from 7 positions now as he's up to P9. Just over 4¼ minutes of this one to go then. Haynes and Jolly working together. Good pace at the moment from the Strawberry boys. In the low 53s. They've got about 1.8 seconds, nearly 2 seconds over Riley Murrow in 3rd. Smith, White, Cormack, Roots, Reed, Gibson and Oman currently completing the top 10. Here's another move, nearly a double move, and through goes James Roots on Austin Gibson there. And the 123 took advantage of all of that, so that's good progress once again from Maximilian Eberhardt. Eberhardt makes the move on James Roots. It's all around 8th, 9th, 10th position right now. 3.5 minutes to play. I think this is going to be the story of Minimax across the course of this season. A lot of good drivers, strong performers from last year's Micromax Championship moving up. A decent number of last year's Minimax top 10 remaining in the division. And some new faces along the way as well. Back with the fight for 5th place. This is Ryan White and Josh Cormack, and Cormack down the inside. Lovely stuff there from Josh Cormack. Got the braking absolutely spot on. Kart can go a little bit light as you go over and through Gasworks Bend. That was perfectly executed by Josh Cormack. Means there's now 2 KR Sport runners there in the top 5. Also 2 Strawberry Racing runners. Here we are with our leaders just coming out of the dogleg. And that slightly downhill left-hander of St John's, and then into the Senna S. Edward Haynes and Max Jolly looking pretty confident at the moment, and Max Jolly knows this place pretty well, of course. Based just up the road in Darlington. It was at this very circuit that Max Jolly started racing. Joined the Hunter Motorsport team at the start of his career, and has now made, of course, the switch across to Strawberry. There's Lucian Smith going through. Well, actually, this is in defence of 3rd place. So Riley Murrow has caught up. I did have a bit of a sight there. I wonder if the front bumper, yes, he's moving around quite a lot. Now, there is a little bit of compliance, of course, in those front fairings, but not really that much. So that could be a developing point to watch out for Lucian Smith. That was a good move. That looked to be Tom Reed down the inside of Ryan White, and yes, it was. So Tom Reed, who lost some positions in the early stage of this race, has done very well indeed to move back up through the order, and is now there in 6th place. 1 minute and 20 seconds to go then. On paper, I think that this is looking pretty comfortable for those 2 Strawberry runners. With this being a heat, of course, I'm sure they've had the training from the team and the instructions to keep it nice and calm. Don't do anything silly. And battle harder later on in the weekend when there's more points to be played for. And here goes the move though. Max Jolly down the inside. Not too much of a defence there from Edward Haynes. He's going to have another go. Ooh, Haynes nearly got the cutback there on the entrance to the dogleg. But in the end, Max Jolly has taken the lead. 40 seconds to go though. There's still going to be time for Edward Haynes to have a go back if he wants to. Out of the second part of the Senna S and towards the Dunlop chicane. This is where Edward Haynes will be looking to set up a move. Maybe not on this lap, but the next couple. It's going to be close as to whether the drivers get another lap here in on the time remaining. Just 20 seconds or less than 20 seconds now on the clock. What can Max Jolly do on this? I think will be, penultimate lap of this heat. They'll cross the line with about 9.87 seconds to go. So 2 more. Haynes down the inside. Well, we saw many a move like that into turn one last year's visit to Warden Law, the Wera Tools British Kart Championships, and that's the first move that we've seen through the first bend and towards Brian's Bend. Lovely stuff from Edward Haynes. Now, can he make that number 7 kart as wide as possible and put the defensive elbows out to keep his teammate behind through the Dunlop chicane? We've still got one more lap to go here for this first heat of the weekend in Minimax 950. This would be a great result for Edward Haynes. 0 points for a race win, 2 for second place, 3 for third, etc., down through the order. Would immediately put a bit of pressure on Emerson McAndrew-Uren, who's got the advantage in Group A from timed qualifying. Final lap board is out, plus 5 second notification has gone up for Alfie Ward. Alfie Ward currently 10th on the road. I think there's been another one as well for the 121 of James Roots, immediately one position behind. So those are the latest bits of news from the officials and from race control. Meanwhile, back with our race leaders, Max Jolly trying to get Edward Haynes off of the racing line through and towards the Dunlop chicane. That's very well dealt with by Edward Haynes to keep calm. Has got a bit of a gap over Max Jolly as they approach into Gasworks. This being a heat, I think that's a little bit too far back for Max Jolly to have a go. He stays in second place, and as long as Edward Haynes can just find his way through the last couple of corners, he's going to open the campaign in 2025 with a Heat 1 victory. Very good stuff indeed. It's a Strawberry Racing 1-2. Haynes takes it from Jolly. Lucian Smith records third place on the road ahead of Riley Moreau and Tom Reed. Josh Cormack, Austin Owen, Ryan White, Max Abrahart and Alfie Ward complete the top 10 on the road. And it's, of course, the provisional results, that is before any changes for front fairings, in-race time penalties, etc., etc. I think another one's just popped in for the 150 of Aidan Hammond, who was 20th on the road. But it's a good start for Edward Haynes, P1, in his new Strawberry Racing colours. Took it from pole position, didn't lead it completely from lights to flag, but a good return to get past his teammate Max Jolly to take the first heat of the weekend. Lucian Smith P3, Morrow, Reed, Cormack, Oman, White, Abrahart and Ward, as mentioned, all in the top 10 on the road. Ward is one of those drivers with a plus 5 second penalty, as is James Roots. Austin Gibson P12. Good effort there from Logan Rolfe, the top rookie in that heat. P13 on the road. Oliver Spencer in the end recovers to P14. We'll need to do the same again in the second heat later on in the programme. Harry Radcliffe P15. Soren Gallagher, Seb Behrman, Max Wheatley, Luke Millward and Aidan Hammond all in the top 20 on the road. Max Gilman, Benjamin Lawn, James Devereaux, Achille Giannone, Joshua Cook and Christian Sanguinetti, the 26 finishers. Fraser Anderson did not take the start in that one. So, one race down for Minimax 950. We will see Minimax out again at the in the second rotation of things here today. That will be race 7 in our schedule. It will be Groups A versus C for that one. So the first appearance of Group A, the second appearance of Group C. More racing to come, of course, here at Warden Law. And we'll be back after this short ad break with Senior Rotax.
Here at Demon Tweaked, you probably know us for our massive cartwear range. We've got everything from suits, boots, gloves and helmets from the biggest brands in the business. But we are so much more than that, because if you're looking for kart parts, well, we've got you covered too. We've got everything from Rotax parts, sprockets and chains, discs and pads, data loggers and dashers, fuel tanks, steering wheels, bead breakers and loads more. But of course, it doesn't just stop at the track, and if you're looking to build your skills in the sim, then we've got everything you're going to need to build the ultimate rig. So whether you're just getting started or you're already at the top of your game, Demon Tweaks has got you.
Welcome back, everybody, to Warden Law. It's Event 1 Saturday for the opening round in this year's Wera Tours British Kart Championships for the Rotax categories and Honda Cadet as well here this weekend. The first part of a double header, of course. We're back here next weekend once again with all of the other categories. For more details, do head across to the British Kart Championships website. Race 2 is up next. It's the first heat of the weekend for Senior Rotax. We'll tell you more about it in a moment. 27 drivers set to go for Senior Rotax in a few moments' time. The grid determined by timed qualifying earlier on this morning. More than 34 runners in Senior Rotax here this weekend, meaning that there was the need for 2 qualifying groups to get all 41 drivers the time on track that needed to set their best 3 laps. The average of those 3 laps is then taken, and that time then sets the end of that calculation then sets the grids and the groups for the course of these heats. Fastest driver overall goes in Group A. We won't see them in this next heat. Fastest driver in the other group then goes into Group B. Second fastest, or the fastest of the second fastest drivers, if that makes any sense, then goes in Group C, and then we go round and round and round again, all the way down to 41st place. Let's know who you're cheering on for here this weekend. So 175 drivers with us this weekend for what should be a very, very competitive start to this year's Wera Tours British Kart Championships. If you're just joining us, Minimax, good steady start from them. A strong run for Edward Haynes to take that win from Max Jolly. And don't forget as well, we'll have paddock show recording later on this evening. We'll be going round the paddock and catching up with everybody and having a bit of a discussion of how their day has gone here to kick things off for the championship. We have also got some new things to show this weekend. I believe we're going to get some new graphics out in a short while. There we go. We've got 2 pictures in one. A little look in the timing room there, overlooking start finish. Going through and making sure that the meeting is running to time, running to schedule, as it is, as ever. The gate has closed 1 minute ago for Senior Rotax, less than 60 seconds before the green flag is waved to instruct the Senior Rotax drivers in Groups B and C to head out onto circuit. I believe we'll also have some views into the CCTV room. There they are. Just behind them, that's the stewards' room. So that's where drivers will go to have their meetings. Zach Drummond with us here this weekend. You just see the young chap who was in the foreground has now gone behind the curtain. He's performing the role of expert driver this weekend. So last weekend, Zach Drummond was racing in the FIA Karting Championships. This weekend, he's helping the officials, giving the drivers take on events out there on circuit. We are now ready, though, for the next race. Less than 30 seconds to go before we get going with Senior Rotax. Race number 2, Heat 1, is up next. So, opening the accounts for Senior Rotax in this year's British Championships. Guy Cunnington, former champion of course, starts on pole position. Lewis Gilbert alongside on the front row in pretty good form so far this year. Harry Bartle moving up to the senior category. Starts on the inside of row number 2 and is joined by the GP plate holder Matthew Higgins. Row 3, Hugh Moulton and Cian Geraghty. Row 4, Kai Veach and Jack Baker. Row 5, Charlie Cox and Lewis Goff, another one of those moving up into seniors. Row 6, Charlie Smith and William Antrobus. Joshua Withcombe and Jack Lilly on row 7. Freddie Ingram and Matty Hinchley on row 8. Brandon Truman and Henry Gregory inside the top 20 on row 9. That top 20 completed by Adam Wooden and Rachel Robertson. Archie Walker and Tyler Harris on row 11. Lewis Merica, Jack Gillingham, Reg Hayward, Luke Bate and Miles Roby complete the 27 runners in this one. If you're following a particular driver in seniors who we did not read out, they are in Group A. They sit out this race. Guy Cunnington brings the field into the tram lines. Are we good for a start at the first time of asking? I do believe we are. We are racing in senior Rotax for the first time in the Wera Tools British Kart Championships of 2025. And there's dramas towards the back. 355 of Brandon Truman was involved. The DHR driver going round. I think there was another one of the Tony Kart runners out towards the back as well. Simply a case of too many drivers going for one piece of North East England real estate there. Another one of the Guy Cunnington racing runners having a tricky moment. That might have been Rachel Robertson, in fact, in the 356. Driver also running in the Radical Rebels team and support from Wera Tools in 2025. And meanwhile, Guy Cunnington, team leader for Guy Cunnington Racing, of course, also leads this race. Had some strong showings in 2024, but can't do anything there about the charge of Lewis Gilbert. Gilbert for Craft Motorsport down the inside, takes the lead at the start of lap number 2. Howie Bartle's now going to have a go for the race lead, and Bartle goes through with a boisterous move there through St. John's. Spinning round there, Hugh Moulton is involved and Matthew Higgins is in trouble. Matthew Higgins comes to a halt with Hugh Moulton. That's on the entrance to the Centre S. They're trying to get each other decoupled now. Will fall down to the bottom of the order. Can Higgins get going again? Yes, but has lost a lot of time. And, well, it's not the end of things yet for Higgins and Moulton, but that now puts a bit of pressure on those two. The rest of this weekend will look like this. They'll all have a second heat later on in the programme and then the super heat. But if they're not in the top 34 of the intermediate classification after the super heats, they are out. There's no repecharge here this weekend. There's no last chance qualifier to get through into the final. You've got to be on your game through these heats and through these super heats, scoring consistently to make sure that you've got a chance of winning the final on Sunday afternoon. Well, one driver who's definitely got a good chance of winning Sunday afternoon is your race leader. Harry Bartle has bolted up the road and has got 1.5 seconds on Guy Cunnington and the rest of the field. Kai Veach has had a good start, as has his KR Sport teammate Adam Wooden. So keep an eye on the 375 of Veach and the 347 of Wooden, because they've definitely got a bit of race pace here this afternoon at Karting North East, as is Matty Hingley. Fastest lap of the race for Hingley so far in this one, 50.13. A gain of 7 places so far for the Welshman racing with Ultimate R this season. Through the Centre S once again. Also another KR Sport driver who's made a lot of progress in this heat so far. Archie Walker, bit of a surprise to see Archie down 21st on the grid, but showing his race pace and showing his prowess in this field, has managed to move up through the order. I do believe the cart you can just see off 2 drivers left there is Matthew Higgins' GP plate to DHR, out as well as Hugh Moulton. I wonder, is this driver's thinking about tyres, knowing that they're not going to be able to get good results in this race? They'd rather save their tyres for later on in the weekend. That's a bit of speculation, of course, but either way, Higgins out, Moulton out. They will not score well in this first round of heats for them. Meanwhile, change for second and third and fourth. Veach has got through past Cunnington. Cunnington has also lost out to Lewis Gilbert, so Gilbert now back up to 3rd place. A bit of a concern, I think, at the moment for Guy Cunnington. The pace, the race pace, doesn't quite seem to be there for the former British champion at this moment. New fastest lap of the race has just come in from Henry Gregory. Gregory's made 6 places up from the start for MLC Motorsport. So Henry Gregory in the 354 is now up into 12th place. Just a quick note, of course, on the numbers. The eagle-eyed amongst you will have noted that all of our seniors now running with triple digits. You know they're seniors, not only because of the blue background on the number board, but the seniors all start with a 3. The juniors start with a 2, Minimax has run with a 1, and then the Micromax runners are still on 2 digits, with the exception of if they are a seeded driver from last year's championship in their respective categories. Of course, they still run the single-digit numbers, or the number 10 if a driver was in 10th place in the championship last year. Quick sight there of William Antrobus, who's got a new lid. Well, it's not a new lid, it's a borrowed lid from one of his teammates. I asked him earlier how many tenths he reckoned the new lid was. He wasn't sure, thought it might actually make him slower, but right now he's in P10, doing very nicely. William Antrobus had a great run here last year in the junior category, second in the final standings of junior Rotax in 2024. There's another one of those drivers finding his feet in the senior category. Fairly similar technical platform, of course, between the juniors and seniors. A bit more power, some different settings to play with here, as there's a move. That's a nice one from Lewis Gilbert down the inside, takes second place away from Kai Veach. That is why many people are looking at Lewis Gilbert as a big runner this weekend for the first round of these Wera Tools British Kart Championships. Lewis Gilbert looking to get back on the top step in this championship, and the Scottish driver who has been on the podium 7 times in his career in the British Kart Championships, on his way at least in this heat to second place. 3 minutes and 40 seconds to go. Bartle's still your race leader. Pace at the moment for Bartle of 49.96 last time around. That is his best lap time. It's just been holding the gap at about 1.5 to 2 seconds across the course of the last few laps. Here's a move, or at least a look at one. Matty Hingley in 8th place there, racing for Ultimate R. The blue suit and the orange details that those with slightly lazy eyes might confuse him for a Fusion Motorsport driver, but not here today, of course. Ultimate R looking for some good results. They had strong pace across their drivers in free practice yesterday. Right now, Matty Hingley having a good fight with Cian Geraghty just ahead. Jack Lilly's come through the field in this one. You can see Jack Lilly there in the number 10. He's a good example of a number 10 seeded driver. As through goes Archie Walker. Archie Walker now 13 places gained. Quite a few competitors out there have taken advantage of the moments in the early stages, particularly on lap 2, to navigate their way through this field. Adam Wooden, the biggest mover right now, at 14 positions. It seems to be that the KR Sport drivers are having a bit of a intra-team battle as to who can gain the most positions in this one. 2 minutes and 10 seconds to go. Bartle and Gilbert, the gap is now 1.77 seconds. Bartle a tiny bit slower than Gilbert. We're talking hundredths of a second though. Don't think there's going to be enough time for Lewis Gilbert to cross that gap, and he isn't really getting a full complement of help. He's not got a buddy on his rear bumper to just push him along through the faster parts of this circuit. Quite high average speed around Warden Law. Not that many slow corners. Over the start line then to complete lap number 9. Bartle's lead now 1.65 seconds. Change for 8th place confirmed. Walker through past Matty Hingley. Saw that a few moments ago. Brandon Truman's also been on the move. So Brandon Truman, who we saw spinning on the very first lap, has got back up to 17th place. He's just taken that one away from Freddie Ingram. And Charlie Smith, the American, on debut here in the Wera Tools British Kart Championships. P19 now for the driver in kart number 318. Has just got past Tyler Harris for that position. Through the horseshoe go Cunnington and Wooden then. This is for P4 on your screens. Maybe a few setup changes to try for Guy Cunnington before we see the 352 out again later on in this weekend, because whilst the qualifying pace was there for Guy Cunnington, came from the second group of qualifiers in senior Rotax, the race pace hasn't quite been there for Guy Cunnington, who is a seeded driver. Had a good run to 5th place in the end in last year's championship. Has elected to stay with his preferred race number of 52, then with the 3 in front of it, of course, because he's a senior Rotax runner. Time has expired. Harry Bartle will be coming around the final corner to take the final lap board this time around, and is comfortably clear, 1.4 seconds. Yes, that gap is coming down, but not at the kind of rate that would worry Harry Bartle. And this has been a very good start for Harry Bartle as he's taken the move from junior Rotax into senior Rotax over the off-season. He did race in senior Rotax, of course, at the Grand Finals at the back end of 2024, so he has got a good amount of familiarity before the start of this new championship season. But this is still a very impressive run from Harry Bartle, considering he's got some strong drivers with a lot of experience, a lot of wins and podiums in the history of the championship directly behind him. Black flag for Freddie Ingram has just come out from 369, so that's not good news at all there. But good news for Bartle, Heat 1 winner. Comfortable stuff for Harry Bartle in the end, and he takes it by 1.2 seconds ahead of Lewis Gilbert. Kai Veach in 3rd place. Guy Cunnington digs deep to hold on to P4. 5th for Adam Wooden. Tremendous drive from Adam Wooden, up 14 places. Is the biggest mover in that one. KR Sport can be very, very happy with the work that they did for the race setup of that 347 machine. Jack Lilly up 8 spots to P6. That's good progress as well from the number 10 seed from last year. Cian Geraghty, solid points, P7. Archie Walker, another KR Sport driver on the move, up 13 places to P8. Matty Hingley up 7 to 9th. William Antrobus wraps out the top 10. Great drive from Joshua Withcombe as well. One of the rookies here for Coles Racing, up 2 spots to 11th. Henry Gregory will be smiling with 12th place there. Jack Baker, Lewis Goff and Luke Bate complete the top 15. Great drive from Bate as well, up 11 spots for Jack's Motorsport. Brandon Truman, Rachel Robertson, Charlie Smith, Freddie Ingram and Charlie Cox are all in the top 20 ahead of Reg Hayward, Tyler Harris, Louis Merica, Jack Gillingham, Miles Roby, Hugh Moulton and Matthew Higgins. That's your provisional order. 2 retirements in that race, of course, being Hugh Moulton and Matthew Higgins after their earlier incident. So the seniors head on in. There is the GP plated cart of Matthew Higgins returning back to the paddock. We will see senior Rotax out again later on today. They will be race 8 and it'll be groups A and C running again. So Group C, where anyone in that last race who started on the outside column of the grid. So Gilbert, Higgins, Geraghty, Baker, Goff, all as examples. We will see them again later on. For Group B, everyone on the inside on that initial run to turn 1, they'll have their second heat tomorrow at 10:30 when they take on Group A. For the drivers, though, they'll go through the procedures of post-race scrutineering, and they'll start getting ready for their next races. We'll start getting ready as well for Junior Rotax. 2 races in Junior Rotax coming up after this short break. Welcome back to Warden Law, karting northeast, just outside of Sunderland. You're watching live coverage of the Wera Tools British Kart Championships, getting ready soon for Junior Rotax to appear on circuit for the first time this weekend in a racing capacity. Big field of Junior Rotax runners, 57 registrations at the start of the weekend. There is a man who's going to be overlooking all of these Junior Rotax drivers in a short while. Dan Ashton, busy I'm sure, making sure, checking up on the latest messages, or maybe texting James Fitchie, I don't know. But there is his shoes. Great to see a good choice of shoes today from Dan. I know he's puts them to good use to kick the stones and keep the track tidy. Good work there by young Mr. Ashton. Hello to Barbara Lapper. Hello to Babs. Albie Lapper, who's looked pretty good so far this season, of course. Looking forward to seeing what that Albie can do across the course of this 2025 season. There is a shot down into the pre-grid area, and a look at your new O-plate holder from a few weeks ago at PF International. Leon Hasty. It was great to see Leon back on the top step. Had a rough 2024 to say the least, but he's shown so far this weekend that pace that took him to the British Open Championship at PF was not a one-off. He will be on pole position for this first race in Junior Rotax, and this is a Group A race as well, so that's an overall pole position as well for the junior category. He's not going to be alone though. Charlie Wolford will be on the outside of row number 1. Ryan Gandor flying the flag for Canada. You can just see behind for KR Sport will be P3 on the grid. Charlie King, Kean Bernard. Quite a few new drivers in Junior Rotax have taken that step over the last 6 to 9 months or so of moving from the inter-category, from Minimax or other inter-categories across the different platforms here under Motorsport UK's licence, and they've stepped into Junior Rotax. So it's a bit of a change, I feel, for this year. I think experience for the likes of Leon Hasty is going to be key, going to be important to use that. But we could have quite a few surprises, I think, this weekend in Junior Rotax. Do let us know who you're cheering on for. Nanny Babs in touch with us again. I think Albie's in the second group, so we will get everybody across Junior Rotax racing across the course of these next 2 races. Yes, Albie is in the second group, and he's on the outside of row number 2, so he's very nicely positioned. That's the next race, of course, though. Getting ready in a few moments' time. Grid being cleared, or the pre-grid being cleared of the mechanics. 29 drivers in total for this one. It's the same story. Everybody races a couple of times in the heats, trying to keep their score as low as possible. Also do the same in the super heats tomorrow morning to try and make it into the top 34. This is the category it's going to be the hardest job to do so, though, with so many entries. Let's get ready for it. Junior Rotax Race 3 Heat 1 is next. Let's take you through the runners then for heat number 1, groups A and D out on circuit. Leon Hasty on pole position, looking to repeat the win that he had at PF International a few weeks ago. Charlie Wolfett alongside on the front row. Ryan Gandor and Charlie King on row number 2. Kean Bernard and Matteo Palazzo go from row number 3 ahead of Albie Friend stepping up to juniors this year, and Archie Lovett, that's row 4. Ellis Bell back in action for Coles Racing. He's on row number 5 and he's joined by Daniel Minto. Alfie McBain and Luca Holmes-Ballack go from row 6. Louis Radcliffe and Finley Lyons start on the 7th row of the grid. Behind them, Marta Kamahidze and Jake Flewitt on row 8. Ewan House and Ethan Griffiths are on row number 9. Completing the top 20, it's Henry Cameron and Daniel Hartley. Bella Stansmore-Wilson and Thomas Harper are on row number 11. Ollie White and Nathaniel Gray go from row 12. Joe Yao and Cameron Nelson. Bit of a surprise to see Nelson there on row 13. DeJean Bennett, Pierce Wade and Samir Paul complete the 29 runners in this heat. Groups A and D starting their stories in Junior Rotax, and we are away and racing at the first time of asking. Good start for Leon Hasty, will lead through the first corner. Ryan Gandor's had a decent start as well, as held Charlie Wolford out to dry there. And up into second place immediately for KR Sports is the Canadian. Oh, it's a little bit rough and tumble in the middle there. And I think one kart going on top, and Finley Lines is involved. One of the MLCs is out as well. That's going to be Jake Fluid. Those two started. Linus Stern on the the even side of the grid rather, 14th and 16th on the grid for Lines and Fluid, but they will not get good scores in this race. They are out of things, and again, in Junior Rotax, 57 entries, only 34 of them will go through to Sunday's finals. That means more than a third will not make it. Oh, someone's chain guard just went flying off there, or at least that's what it looked like at first glance. So is there going to be a problem for someone out there? There's the number 281 is being shown the mechanical flag. So that will be the end of the race. Well, it already was the end of the race for Finley Lines. So Finley Lines will have to come in if Finley Lines is even still circulating. End of lap number 1 then. Hasty leads from Gandor, Wolfit, Bernard, Bell, Friend, Palazzo, Lovett, Minto and King. That is your top 10 who made good progress on that first lap. Oliver White did, up 8 places to P15. Pierce Wade up 10 places to 18th place. There was a move from Albie Friend, last year's Minimax front runner, of course. There is Finley Lines as 281, is out of this one and will need a good result in the second heat to not leave too much of a job to be done in the super heat. It is a nice format. I'm personally quite a fan of it, that when we get to the super heats, there's always a mathematical opportunity for every driver in those super heats to race through to the final. But if you are in the lower reaches, shall we say, of the grid on Sunday morning, you've got to have a big super heat to flip the tide and get into that top 34. It's not done, of course, for Finley Lines, but he's going to need a second heat that gets him back up the order. Nice move there for the race lead. Charlie Wolford goes down the inside of Leon Hasty to take the lead away, and will look to stretch things out now for MLC Motorsport. So after the initial run down to the first braking zone saw Wolford down to third, this has been a very good return indeed. Wolford leads from Gandor, Hasty there in third, Kean Bernard there P4. You'll note running in the Wera Tools colours. He's part of their Alliance Racing Academy. Race for the UK in the FIA Karting Academy in 2024. Nice move from Hasty once again. Takes P2 away from Ryan Gandor. That allows Charlie Wolford a bit of time just to break off the front and gap the chasing runners here right now. But we've still got 6 3/4 minutes to go in this first heat for Junior Rotax. Down through Gasworks go the leaders once again, just to come back in on who's made good progress. Oliver White, we should mention, up 9 places from where we saw the Hunter Motorsport 224 start this race. Pierce Wade, another one of the Canadians in this race, is up 11 spots for Global Karting. Cameron Nelson, problems in qualifying for Cameron Nelson, who's one of the seeded drivers staying this year, remaining in Junior Rotax. More of what we come to know from Cameron Nelson from Wales coming through the field. It's up 8 places into P18. 6 minutes to go then. Wolfert still leads. Hasty, Gandor, Bernard and Friend, your top 5. Friend all over the rear axle of Bernard right now. Ian Bernard running with the Zip Factory team once again this season. There is the 213 of Samir Paul, who's pulled off the circuit. Had completed 4 laps at this final, but fortunate news there for the privateer. They are out of this race. Technical flag as well for the 258 of Thomas Harper. Thomas Harper at the moment running in P22, so that's effectively going to be the end of the race for Thomas Harper. Will need to come in and get seen to whatever the officials have spotted to put that mechanical flag out. 5 minutes of this race to go. Matteo Palazzo, very impressive run so far from Matteo Palazzo. As out is the 258 now having come into the pits. That is, of course, Thomas Harper. It's in response to the mechanical flag that we saw a few moments ago. But Palazzo, we saw some really, really strong performances. I think particularly back to PF International when Palazzo was racing for the Soltime Motorsport team. Smaller team, but very, very committed to their operation. And on their day, were able to get a good result. It's a good move there from Albie Friend to take third place away from Ryan Gandor. Palazzo surprised a lot of people last year. The move to KR Sport. Team with some more runners, more data to go around. Starting to really show his colours and come through the field. Here's a good scrap. Cian Bernard right in the middle of it. Has fallen down a little bit. Charlie King in the 274 we need to keep an eye on in this group, because the Strawberry Racing driver is currently the fastest driver, or was the fastest driver out on circuit. His teammate Albie Friend is now. Archie Lovett was in that group. In fact, it's at the very front of this group for Sam Pollitt Racing on the Kart Republic chassis this year, up to P6. Alice Bell trying to fight through there. Also for Coles Racing, bit of a tough moment for the 286 of Marta Kavahidze, Georgian driver for DHR, trying to wrestle his way back in there and does so quite nicely to not lose another position to Daniel Minto. Kavahidze currently in 10th place. Just over 3 minutes of this first heat for Junior Rotax to go then. Charlie Wolfert has a quarter of a second lead. Leon Hasty P2, but it's Albie Friend who's closing in right now. Third place. Had some storming drives around this circuit in particular on his way to the 2025 Minimax final position that he got right at the top of the order. Second the year before, so got a great amount of experience through Minimax, and it's showing here that he's straight on the pace when it comes to the juniors. Hasty's going to have a go for the race lead though, down into Gasworks, and that is textbook from the British Open champion. Leon Hasty back to the front of the order then with 2 minutes and 20 seconds remaining. And that was well timed, if you ask me, because Friend has closed in. Gandor's not too far behind him. Even I think Matteo Palazzo will be looking for gains in the last few laps of this one. That was imperative that Hasty got through and got back into full control of this race in terms of track position. What can Charlie Wolfert do as a response? Is Albie Friend going to have a go as well? Wolfert goes on the half defence, half attack there, just to ensure that Friend doesn't pull this move. We saw Friend do this one last year in Minimax. He's done it again. Through on the exit of the centre S towards the Dunlop chicane. There was a bit of a tyre smoke there. That shows you how close they got running out of the centre S. But Albie Friend is through into second place. Gandor nipped through there as well to take third. Wolfert now in fourth. Still best part of 90 seconds on the clock to go though. Leon Hasty's got a bit of an advantage now. This is going to be an important lap for the Scottish driver. If he can hold that gap at around half a second ahead of Albie Friend, it's going to take a mighty effort from Albie Friend to close back in. The driver from Hertfordshire is going to look to push on now. So strong through this part of the circuit, and even though the move up into Junior Rotax, very different chassis of course, much more power than in Minimax, we are seeing a similar trait with Albie Friend to what we saw in both the 2023 and 2024 visits to this place. Albie Friend, through that tight twisty section, through the centre S and through Gasworks, is very, very strong indeed. 2 laps to go. Warning flag is out for the number 8 of Cameron Nelson. There's also been a plus 5 second penalty for the 287 out there. If I'm not mistaken, that's Isabella Stansmore-Wilson. Friend's not given this one up yet. New fastest lap of the race last time around. 50.77 has closed the gap to 0.4 of a second. Leon Hasty's got to keep it nice and calm if he's going to take this this first heat. Can't really afford to tighten up right now. And all these drivers will get a a second run of things later on this afternoon. This is a good scrap on your screens. This is the Ryan Gandor, Matteo Palazzo squabble. This is both drivers in KR, of course, fighting over 4th place. Another big lap there from Albie Friend, closing the gap to 0.24 of a second. Albie Friend, I think, will be trying to set things up at the earliest opportunity coming out of Senna 2, if not into Gasworks. Leon Hasty is aware that he's there, but has got to keep an eye on Albie Friend here. He's a little bit too far back to realistically have a go, as there's a problem for one of the Jax Motorsport runners. Oh, but Friend's going to have a go through the Dunlop chicane and not quite make it work. And in fact, I think he's going to cost himself a little bit. He's now going to have to defend into Gasworks from Charlie Wolfett. Has Leon Hasty played it the right way to keep ahead here? I don't think Friend's going to have an opportunity through the final corner. No, he's not. Leon Hasty continues where he left off, where he finished things at the O-Plate, takes the first heat in Junior Rotax. Albie Friend with a spirited second place there. Third for Charlie Wolfett. Ryan Gandor and Matteo Palazzo make it 2 KR Sport runners in the top 5. Archie Lovett P6. Good drive there from Archie Lovett. Charlie King, Bernard Louis Radcliffe and Marta Kobahidze all in the top 10. Ellis Bell comes home P11, but all smiles for Wee Jimmy Jr. Leon Hasty, P1 again. That was the result that we saw a few Sundays ago at PF International. Will it be the same one again in just over 24 hours' time? You'll have to tune in here on your Karting UK and Alpha Live broadcast tomorrow, of course, to see if he does indeed do so. Ellis Bell, as we mentioned, in P11. Ethan Griffiths, Ewan House and Cameron Nelson all in the top 15, completed by Alfie McBain. Henry Cameron, Oliver White, Pierce Wade, Isabella Stansmore Wilson and Luca Holmes Ballack all recorded top 20s in that one. Nathaniel Gray, Daniel Hartley, Dijon Bennett, Joe Yao and Daniel Minto in the top 25. Minto didn't finish the race. I hope Daniel's okay. I just heard, I think he's walking a bit gingerly back to the paddock. We'll update you on that in due course. There is the 2:30 of Daniel Minto. Also retiring from that race, Thomas Harper, having completed 5 laps, saw the mechanical flag, as did Samir Paul in the 2-1-3. Finley Lyons and Jake Flewitt, of course, were out on lap 1. There the juniors are, at least half of them. Groups A and D will be out again later on this afternoon. For Group A, that's good to see, Daniel Minto walking back to the paddock. Group A will be against Group C for their second heat. That will be at 4:30. For Group D, they will, of course, be against Group B. They will be the race immediately after at 4:50 if you're following a particular driver in one of those respective groups. But I do hope you can stick with us throughout the course of the afternoon. You can take us anywhere over on the YouTube platform. Jake Flewitt returning to the pits there. Disappointing start to the racing part of the afternoon for Jake Flewitt. Would have hoped to move from P16. Anyone kind of in the top 8 rows, at least from timed qualifying's perspective, is in a decent position going into these heats of stay where you are, don't fall further back. You'll be in the top 34 by the end of all of these heats. But yeah, with that happening for Jake Flewitt moving further back, that's going to need a good second heat later on this afternoon. Let's have a look, if we can, at some of the highlights from that first heat in Junior Rotax before we move to the other groups. This was in the early stages, the battle for the lead. Leon Hasty down the inside of Ryan Gandor for second place. That was in the chase of Charlie Wolfett. Decent race for Cian Bernard as well. Had a good amount of running in junior machinery last year, but this is his first full year at a junior level, racing to the top 10. That was the reverse angle of Albie Friend going through. Got down the inside of Charlie Wolfett. Bit of dust being kicked up by Wolfett as well. This was the go for the race lead by Albie Friend, not able to get through past Leon Hasty, who would hold on to the race win. and will at least be in a, well, he will be in a share of the tie of the lead after this next race. We'll have 2 drivers on 0 points, of course. We'll find out who the second of those drivers will be after this short ad break. Start your journey today in your motorsport career. Head across to the Motorsport UK website for more information. Also across on the website, if you've not heard the news already, Easter school holidays are upon us. And if you have a young girl aged between 8 and 12 years of age, there are opportunities this coming week at Team Sport Karting centres around the country to get involved in the new Motorsport UK Girls Karting Academy. This is giving 8 to 12-year-old girls the chance to learn, develop and progress in motorsport through its renowned academy programme. And as I say, there's going to be a series of academy days where entries are still open. You can get involved. Head across to the Team Sport Karting website to get yourself booked in. The first sessions start this next week in Bristol, Crawley, Cambuslang, Coventry, Mitcham, Leeds, Nottingham, Southampton, Manchester, Trafford and Newcastle. I do believe some of those centres have already sold out, but do go and check for availability, and there will be more days to follow in May and October at those centres. Also, Charlotte Tilbury getting involved. They'll provide free funded karting sessions at 10 of those venues on the 15th of April, so that's in a few days' time. That's all to launch the Charlotte Tilbury Scholarship. Those who take part in the academy programme and go through the 5-week development programme will then be encouraged to get involved and enter the British Indoor Kart Championship. So this is the one that's run up and down the country by Team Sport, running through their local, regional and then all the way to national finals later on in the year. There are opportunities to step further up in karting through the GKA, so if that sounds like something that you want to get involved with, do so to get involved with those days in the coming week. We're ready though here once again at Warden Law. Junior Rotax, race 4, heat 2 is next. Groups B and C out on track then. Here's how they line up. John Bucket and Kai Clark on the front row. Isaac Barker and Albie Lapper on row 2. Harry Freeman and Cole Denham go from that one there. Sebastian Lusch and Vlad Tomanchuk on row 4. Jacob Ashcroft, keep an eye on the 242, starts there on row 5 alongside Zane Krecker. Jack Collington and Noah Barham on row 6. Jared Fox-Whiteley and Jensen Chalk start from row 7. Harry Holland, the privateer, goes from row number 8 and is joined by Eva Morris. Harry Taylor and William Archer go from row number 9. Findlay Buck and Sam Mott complete the top 20. Shane Chandaria and Riley Cranham go from row number 11. Panos Diamonkong and Benjamin Barker go from row 12. Joel Dixon Cohn and Connor Large on row 13. Zach Turner and Kieran Stewart complete the 28 runners in Junior Rotax heat number 4. What do you know? We whistled through the grid and it's a falsie. Round we go again for another formation lap. Very interesting grid, this one, for heat number 2. Particularly, I'll bring attention to Jacob Ashcroft at P9. Not an absolute disaster for Ashcroft, but maybe a little bit disappointed. The pace for Ashcroft in practice has been mega. So keep an eye on Jacob. He could come flying through the field from that 5th row of the grid. Similar for Riley Cranham, won a couple of weeks ago in the IAMIO plate at Wilton Mill that you'll have seen here on your Karting UK and Alpha Live platform of channels. Finley Buck is another name that jumps out, maybe a little bit lower down the grid than we would have expected. Or the opposite end of things, good to see Kai Clark up at the front of the field. Had a very strong run here last year for the Rotax Grand Festival when he booked his ticket to Sarno to head to Grand Finals. So, what is going to happen here across the course of the next 10 minutes and 1 lap? The second half of the runners in Junior Rotax. Into those tram lines, out of those tram lines, we're good. It's a good start and we're racing as round the outside. That's a good attempt from Albi Lapper to try and take the race lead. Not able to do so as through the first couple of corners they all go. It is the Sam Pollitt Racing 276 of Kai Clark who's got the race lead. Where's John Buchan gone in all of this? I think he's just slotted into 3rd place there for Craft Motorsport. Craft running a slightly altered livery this year, bit more orange on it. Yes, he is there in the 293 in 3rd place. Bit spread out in the mid-pack as the 232 of Ethan Morris there has a battle with a couple of the DHRs. I think that might have been Noah Barham trying to force his way through and get up through the order. So Kai Clark leads at the end of the first lap, continuing the form that we saw from Clark in the Rotax Grand Festival last year. He has switched teams. He has moved from KR Sports into Sam Pollitt Racing. Saw in the hands of William Antrobus that was a useful package in 2024 in this category. Meanwhile, real old scrap going on for 4th place there. Cole Denham, who's looked a lot stronger at the start of this season than he did in 2024, had some struggles as he made the transition from the interclasses up into juniors, from Minimax up to junior Rotax. The DHR runner there in 262 getting involved. I think Noah Barham's really flying through the order, so apologies, it wasn't Noah Barham that we saw in that fight with Eva Morris earlier on. It was Isaac Barker. Noah Barham has gained 6 places in the early stages of this one, so superb progress there from one of a number of drivers that Dan Holland Racing, I think, have got big hopes for in this championship. So on to lap number 3, where we are now. Clark leads from Buchan, Tomanchuk 3rd, Denham, Lapper, Barham, Zane Quecker. Quecker was very quick towards the end of free practices yesterday, so another one of the Ultimate R team to keep an eye on. Middle of the road line there for John Buchan on the approach to Gasworks gives Kai Clark small opportunity to extend his lead, which is around half a second, might be up to 3/4 of a second now. Over 7 minutes to go. Big defense there from Buchan. Single move to the inside of the circuit. Tomanchuk not able to find a way through. Harry Freeman, meanwhile, is gaining in all of this as through goes Tomanchuk. I think that was inevitable that the KR Sport runner was going to come through. Cole Denham up into 3rd place. John Buchan gets things back into a rhythm, but now finds himself in 4th place. John Buchan, who had a part-time run in these championships last year, had an appearance at Lark Hall. Cole Denham down the inside takes P2 away from Vlad Tomanchuk. Tomanchuk did a good amount there to try and hold Denham off, but gave him good racing space on the inside. Well positioned by Denham as well, didn't overcook it into Gasworks. Meanwhile, now Tomanchuk comes back at Denham, retakes 2nd place. Great back and forth here between 2 of the big hitters in this category for 2025. classic DHR versus KR Sport battle in this second heat for Junior Rotax. Denham just makes sure that there's no attack from John Buchan into the centre S. Looking further down the order, who's making nice progress. Findlay Buckets up 5 places to P14. It's the field from 3rd place down to probably around 11th place, where Jared Fox-Whiteley is there. Just trying to rejoin this pack in the Jackson Motorsport machine in the white, green and blue. We know now they're into the middle phase, now into a nice rhythm. 5.5 minutes to go. Allowed Kai Clark to break away a bit. Same with Vlad Tomanchuk. Now is that part of the race. We've got to trust each other, work together and pull that gap back. The other key part of that, though, is Cole Denham's got to keep his pace up. He's got to keep convincing those behind that he's worthy of that position at the front of the chasing pack. There's scrap going on further behind. Jacob Ashcroft trying to get through and trying to find a way past Strawberry Racing's Albie Lapper. That's all over 8th place. Well, Lapper's got through actually past Quaker for 7th place. You can see Quaker there in the dark blue with the orange highlights as well for Ultimate Art, trying to hold off one of the fastest drivers from free practice yesterday. Oh dear, his round has gone at the 277. I think that's one of the top running privateers from yesterday, Harry Holland. Yes, it is. So unfortunate there for Harry Holland. He joins the race, but is now relegated down to 28th place. Just over 4 minutes to go then. This one's still in the balance, particularly for this chasing pack. Denham and Barham at the front of it. Barham now one of the fastest, in fact is the fastest driver out on circuit, a 51.07. So with a bit of help, can Cole Denham lead this charge back towards Vlad Tomanchuk? Or are we going to see a move from Noah Barham? Well, I think we were going to see a move from Noah Barham, and Cole Denham didn't want him to make it. In the end, he's lost out to his teammate. By the time they get to the dogleg, Denham's out on the grass, and that's an uncomfortable ride on the entry to St. John's. Harry Freeman got caught out by that as well and has lost a couple of positions. Jacob Ashcroft and Albie Lapper gain out of that. Cole Denham under pressure here from not just those in other teams, but from his teammates as well. Into Gasworks once again. 2 DHRs, 1 Strawberry Racing, 1 KR Sport runner in this fight for 5th, 6th, 7th and 8th places. 3 minutes remaining on the clock. Big lap now for Noah Barham. He's made that move. It was a bold one. He made it work past his teammate. Just put in a 51.37. Can lower that time back down to the 51.0s that he set a few laps ago. He has got a chance here of closing in on Tomanchuk and possibly Clark. And meanwhile, Tomanchuk is also closing in on the race leader. So we'll keep half an eye on that gap. Someone's lost an exhaust silencer, just judging from the loud hail I heard outside of the commentary box window. There is your fight for the race lead. So Vlad Tomanchuk's mid-race pace has been very, very good here. Kai Clark, who had plenty of races in the KR Sport awning, here for Sam Pollitt Racing now. Can he hold off one of his old teammates? It's the 211 that has come in with the loose exhaust. That is Zane Quecker, so that's a real shame for Quecker, who was on for a top 10 in this race. In the end, it will be P28, or points for P28 off of this one. 2 minutes on the clock. Kai Clark defends. No opportunity at the moment for Tomanchuk to get through. Tight line there on the approach to the Dunlop chicane means that Clark still has the race lead. This is good for Noah Barham. Whilst it's not the fiercest of fights, it's a gentle fight at the moment in terms of the defensive lines from Kai Clark. It is losing them time. It is allowing Noah Barham to keep chipping away and closing in, and maybe he could throw his hat in the ring for potential heat victory in this one. Tomanchuk still not able to find a way through past Kai Clark. That time on the run through the first couple of corners. Now there might be a chance, but doesn't get off of the dogleg with the any kind of speed that Tomanchuk would have wanted. But look at how much Noah Barham is closing in there in third place. A 51.3 last time around. He was half a second quicker than the top two. Clark doing a magnificent job here to hold off Tomanchuk. Plus 5 second penalty for Jack Collinson. The local drivers here in the 291 won't be too pleased at seeing that race control message. Through the final corners now. I think we'll have 2 more laps of this one. And this is going to be a good fight indeed. Tomanchuk once again forced to look to the outside. Noah Barham has now caught the 2 leaders. Through and round the dogleg once again and towards St John's. Field behind, quite spread out by Junior Rotax standards in this one, so no other changes of position to report until now. Barham's got second place. Noah Barham through then. Vlad Tomanchuk lost out through the second part of the Senna S. Now can Noah Barham, with just over 1 lap to go, find enough pace to close up to Kai Clark and then do what Tomanchuk couldn't do and find a way past the Sam Pollitt Racing 276. Jacob Ashcroft, I think, has moved up the order again. Yes, he has. So it's up to P5 and may have a go here at John Buchan for P4. On to the final lap. That was a very good second half of the penultimate lap by Noah Barham. Closes the gap to 0.23 of a second. Out of the dogleg once again. Sebastian Lusch is out of this race. That's a real shame for another of the Sam Pollitt Racing runners. Tomanchuk's having to work hard once again to hold off Buchan and Ashcroft for P3, and that's getting close. Ashcroft sweeps around the outside. Good anticipation there by Ashcroft to find a way past John Buchan. May have an opportunity still to be in the top 3 in this heat. Noah Barham has not been able to get into overtaking and striking distance past Kai Clark, so Kai Clark's going to take this one. A great run from Kai Clark, who takes the heat's victory in race number 4 at Warden Law. Barham takes P2. Tomanchuk, good points there, P3. Jacob Ashcroft goes up to P4. Shows that there's some good race pace there for Jacob Ashcroft this weekend. 5th for John Buchan. Cole Denham, after some worrying moments in the middle part of that race, it felt like he was going back a bit, holds on to P6. Albie Lapper strongly in the top 10 there with 7th. Harry Freeman, Jared Fox-Whiteley and Eva Morris all complete that top 10. Good drives there from Fox-Whiteley and Morris, up 4 and 6 places respectively. Biggest mover in that race was a driver in second place, Noah Barham, up 10 spots to P2. There is your provisional order for the top 10 here in race 4 for Junior Rotax, heat number 2 for Junior Rotax. That of course brings us to the end of round 1 for the Junior Rotax drivers. They'll all be back out later on this afternoon. Jensen Chalk, Finley Buck, Isaac Barker, William Archer and Jack Collinson all in the top 15 on the road. This is of course before plus 5 second penalties are applied. Riley Cranham, Panos Tiamonkong, Joel Dixon Cohen, Benjamin Baker and Zach Turner all score in the top 20. Shane Chandaria, Sam Mott, Connor Large, Harry Taylor, Kieran Stewart in the top 25. One more finisher was Harry Holland after that moment at the last corner. 2 retirements with Sebastian Lusch and Zane Quaker. Drivers into Parc Ferme now. And as mentioned, we will see all of these drivers again later on this afternoon. So Group B, they'll be back out again, taking on Group D. That'll be at 4:50. So that was anyone who started on the inside, driver's right-hand side, 1st, 5th, 5th, 7th, etc. In that last race. For those who are on the opposite side of the grid, anyone who started in an even positioned number in that last race, they're all the ones in Group C. They will be against Group A at 4:30. So 4:30, 4:50 are the race times for the other 2 Junior Rotax runners today. And remember, everyone goes forward to the superheats tomorrow as well. So there's no cut-off at the end of today into repecharges and the like. Everyone has a superheat tomorrow, just the one of them. And then that's when the cut comes at the top 34. All going through to the repechage. All going through to the final. There is no repechage. There's no last chance opportunity to race yourself through into the final for these single headers. This will be the case for the majority of the race weekends for this season. 5 race weekends for Rotax runners this year. Here at Warden Law, of course. Dunk as well, down to Dunks in middle of May on the 9th to the 11th of May. Lark Hall in early July. Hopefully we'll get a return of the weather that we had there last year in the summer. Wilton Mill is the last of the single header rounds, round 4 at the end of August, and then a double header to finish the Rotax season at PF International in mid-September. Repechagers will be back for that one. Slightly different format when we get to that stage. Let's have a look at some of the highlights, though, of that second heat for Junior Rotax. Here was your race start. Very good race start for Kai Clark and for Albie Lapper as well. It's the first time we've really seen drivers from the outside be able to get the jump on those on the inside. And I know we always say it in karting that it's hard to start on the outside, second, fourth, sixth, eighth, etc. in dry conditions, but it really is hard round this circuit. There was a move from Cole Denham. Good to see Cole Denham more back to the kind of Cole Denham that we saw a couple of years ago in Minimax. 7 times we've seen Cole Denham win a round of these Wera Tools British Kart Championships in the younger formulas. Really does seem like he's back to his best now here in juniors. Continuing the fight up the front of the order. Very impressed with how Noah Barwin was able to work his way through the field, gain 10 positions in that one. This was good work again from another one of the DHR drivers, Jacob Ashcroft, knowing that there'd be a lane around the outside. That was key in that fight for P4. Clark wins it, Barham second, Tomanchuk, Ashcroft and Buchan all in the top 5. They'll be happy with the points scored in that one and look to build on that later on this afternoon. More racing to come here, though. Micromax are out next for the first heat of the day for them. They're all on one grid, so nice and easy for us. No need to worry about split grids, qualifying groups and the like. This is a straight-out heat between 19 drivers in Micromax UK for this year. And, of course, it being the entry-level to things in the Rotax ladder, we've got some new drivers to talk about in Micromax for this year. We've got some returning faces as well, particularly the likes of Benediktas Masiokas, who was your O-Plate winner a few weeks ago at PF International, and like we saw with Leon Hasty in the junior ranks, Masiokas has also been able to replicate the form from earlier on. We'll see if Masiokas can hold on to that first position. Next, Micromax are out in a short moment's time.
Here we go then for Micromax UK. O-Plate holder Benediktas Masiokas starts on pole. Dean Pahal alongside on that front row. Alfie Garrett and Harris Barber will take things from row number 2. Albie J Stubbs is also an O-Plate holder, but in other categories. We saw that 2 weeks ago at Wilton Mill. We'll start this one from row 3. Sebastian Crawford for company from Origin Motorsport. Dimitar Uzanov and Albert Farrow go from row 4. Charlie Page and Ralph Martin on row 5. Hansel Murray back again with Dax Farrer for company on row number 6. Ethan Lloyd and Freddie Walker will start on the 7th row of the grid. Otto, Amy and Chloe McGill go from row number 8. Arlo Gamble, new to the championship this weekend, starts on row 9 and is joined by another debutant in the shape of Will Wainwright. Max Armit completes the 19 runners here for Micromax UK. So for the Micromax runners, once again is 10 minutes plus 1 lap for them.
First of 2 heats here today to then set the grid for the super heat tomorrow. 10 minutes plus 1 lap is underway, and it's a good start from Dian Pahal. Dian Pahal trying to go around the outside, takes the race lead. Great stuff from Dian Pahal from that outside line. Brave stuff from the driver there in the number 23. RCE take the early race lead. Dian Pahal, one of the drivers who stayed in Micromax for 2025. We saw a good number of results from them last year. Oh, half spin there and round. Is that Alfie Garrett? Yes, it is. In the number 47 MLC Motorsport machine, there was a couple of other drivers, unfortunately, joining the incident in the second phase of that. But I think everybody's got back going again now. There's a warning flag for the number 18 of Chloe McGill in the early stages. A bit rough and tumble in the early parts of this race. Ansel Murray has recovered in the number 96. So Ansel was having a few problems on the exit of the dogleg on this first lap, but has kept things going. Pahal leads then from Masiokas. Albert Farrow, one of the 2 Farrow brothers for Dan Holland Racing. I mentioned on the build-up show yesterday that for those of us who are easily confused, good news, Arthur Farrow, the other A. Farrow, has moved up into to Minimax for this year. So if you see an A. Farrow here in Micro, it is Albert. Meanwhile, back at the front of the order, Masiokas, good start to this second lap, is challenging Pahal for the race lead now. Through the Dunlop chicane, Albert Farrow still pushing on as well, there in third. Here goes Masiokas down the inside, new race leader at the end of the second lap. And a thumbs up there from Masiokas to say to Dian Pahal, let's keep working, let's keep pushing, let's try and break away fully from Albert Farrow. There's a technical flag out for the number 47. That's going to be Alfie Garrett, and I would imagine that is for the dislodged Nassau panel that we saw on the number 47 at the end of everything that happened through the first part of the Senna S on lap number 1. Alfie Garrett is still circulating, well, was still circulating. He's just pulled into the pits there. Correct call by the officials. Alfie, understandably, not happy about that, P17. But the good news for these drivers, with it being a single grid, they will all make it to the final on Sunday. And they've still got another heat to go, of course, and the super heat. Plenty of opportunities for these drivers to recover from any mishaps, any issues that may befall them. They don't have to worry about one of those top 34 cut-offs like we've been talking about with the seniors, the juniors, and with Minimax. 7 minutes of this race to go. Who's made good progress? Chloe McGill's made some great progress. You can see her there in the number 18. Is up 10 positions. Just lost one of those to Albie J. Stubbs. That's not a problem. Albie J. Stubbs, as we know from a few weeks ago at Wilton Mill, is in some very good race pace form. Oh, that's a little bit close between Arlo Gamble and Dax Farah. That's a discussion over 10th place out there on circuit. Warning flag's gone out to the number 21 of Will Wainwright. Harris Barber coming back through the order. So I think Harris was one of the drivers caught out in the early stages of this race, because Harris is very quick at the moment, 56.72. He's trying to gain positions. He's now back up to P12. Otto Amy having a great race as well. Otto, one of our new drivers, and in fact is the top running rookie at this stage. The rookies on your timing screen, if you're just joining us, they're all the ones with the black backgrounds behind their numbers, as opposed to the greens for those who've raced in Wera Tools British Kart Championships before. So it's not the same as being a novice or on a novice plate. It's specifically for these British Kart Championships. Drivers who've not done a full season before in this championship are classed as rookies. As there's a move from Ralph Martin down the inside of Albert Farrow. That was for third place. So through goes Ralph Martin. He's got a very strong record in Bambino categories. And stepping up now to the cadet ranks, already with a good amount of experience. Knows how to race through the fields. Charlie Page there through past Otto Amy for 7th place. Good move from Charlie Page. Running in the number 33 once again this season. 5 minutes of this race to go. A lot of Micromax races last year we saw go right to the wire. Should note that Masiokas and Pahal have an advantage at the moment. I think a lot of that is down to experience. The experience that they had through 2024, often being in the middle of those big packs and racing at the front. They'll have lent on that, maybe just a bit more comfortable in the early stages of this weekend, knowing that it's a repeat of what they did last year. 4.5 minutes remaining on the clock. Dax Farah and Chloe McGill here on your screens, with Harris Barber now for company. This is 9th, 10th and 11th places. Great to see for Farah and McGill. We talked a lot about this in Honda Cadet a couple of weeks ago at their O-Plate, Wilton Mill. And we've of course got Honda Cadet coming up after this one. Good it is to see drivers we've seen in 2024 taking big steps forward in 2025 in terms of their race pace. For Chloe McGill and Dax Farah, that is definitely the case. Both of them very experienced as well through their Bambino years. As through goes Farah into 9th place past McGill. And Harris Barber follows through as well. So for Harris Barber now back into the top 10. Charlie Page on the attack once again. Well, we've seen that once, twice now from Charlie Page. He's clearly very strong out of the Dunlop chicane. Page through past LBJ Stubbs for P6. And still a good amount of time remaining in this race as well. So it's not completely out of the question that Charlie Page can chase down the likes of Dimitar Usanov and Albert Farrow and go even further than 6th place in this race. In fact, he's going to go further than 6th place based on time penalties, because Ralph Martin has just come up on our screens. So the number 32 has got an in-race plus 5 second time penalty. So he's now 3rd on the road, but will drop, I think we'll just, at the moment, if the race was to finish like this, Martin would drop to P8, would, yes, just be between Otto Amy and Dax Farah with that 5 second penalty applied. 2.5 minutes to go then. Benedictas Masiokas looking very, very good indeed. Is running with the SFR Motorsport team this week. We started the build-up show right at the top of the West Paddock with them earlier. Benedictas Masiokas, another driver like your Pahals and your Pharaohs and your Pages and your Stubbs and your McGills as well. Has already got quite a few years of experience, having raced through the Bambino categories in the C50s. Has raced now in his 2nd year in Micromax. Won that O-Plate at PF International and just seems to be getting stronger and stronger. 2.2 seconds clear of this battle on your screens. Dean Pahal and Ralph Martin. Important for Martin to find a way through, because right now is not able to nullify the effects of that 5 second penalty whilst tucked under the rear bumper of the number 23. Martin did get slightly ahead at the last check, but Pahal has fought back, and we saw a lot of this tenacity from Dean Pahal in 2024, of course. Always races back firmly and fairly when overtaken. Dean Pahal back into 2nd place. Often strong in the heats last year was Dean Pahal, and then a bit of bad luck always seemed to befall the driver, the number 23, when it came to finals. Hopefully not the case this year. Could be one of both of these drivers I expect to be strong runners in 2025 in Micromax UK. And this entertaining battle may be the tonic that Albert Farrow needs to rejoin this one. Is not a million miles behind there in P4. Warning to Sebastian Crawford in the number 16. 25 seconds remaining on the clock. Masiokas' lead is now 3.6 seconds. You'd imagine that is more than enough, way more than enough. Masiokas needs to bring this one home. So it's going to be all about this battle for 2nd place. And Dean Pahal not defending too hard, has got good mid-corner speed as Dean Pahal, and that means that Ralph Martin has just not been able to find a clear-cut opportunity to send a move through. At the moment, that 5-second penalty from earlier in the race for Ralph Martin would drop the number 32 down to, I think, now behind Dax Farah. So yeah, would still be in the top 10, but is in fact losing positions here. Has a little look again into Gasworks, but again, Dean Pahal's entry speed and mid-corner speed, so good. And great to see Dean get quicker and quicker and quicker over the course of the last 2 years. I remember the first time I saw Dean race at this circuit towards the end of the 2023 campaign, as through goes Ralph Martin into second place on the road. But this is the final lap now. This is going to need to be a big one from Ralph Martin to try and pull 5 seconds clear of the likes of Dax Farah and Otto Amy. And you never know, Dean Pahal could have another go here and retake second place on the road. Will, of course, take second place once the 5-second penalty has been applied to kart number 32. But that's not how Dean Pahal wants to do things, wants to do it on the road. Albert Ferro still there in P4. But what a run for Benedictas Masiokas, down through and out of Gasworks now through the horseshoe. Is going to be comfortably clear. Could this be the start of a story that we see many times in 2025? Benedictas Masiokas for Lithuania is your race winner, and it's going to take it by, I think, over 5 seconds, 4.94 seconds ahead of Ralph Martin. Dean Pahal will inherit second place after the 5-second penalty is applied. Albert Farrow, good drive there. Albert back in for Micromax UK this year, takes P4. Charlie Page 5th. Dimitar Uzanov, Albie J. Stubbs, Harris Barber, Otto Amy and Dax Farah all in the top 10. At least provisionally, the +5 for kart number 32, Ralph Martin, will drop them down to P9. So we'll just slot in ahead there of Dax Farah. Drivers into the pits. Very efficient turnaround and run in here at Warden Law. Of course, they don't need to do a full slowdown lap. They go straight into Parc Ferme on the entrance to turn 1. But there's your race winner, Benedictas Masiokas, repeating what we saw at PF International a few weeks ago. And if Masiokas can continue that form through the second heat, which we'll see later on this afternoon, and of course the superheat and the final tomorrow, then it could well be another P1 for the driver racing from Lithuania. Ralph Martin, Pahal, Farah, Page, Uzanov, Stubbs, Barker, Amy, Farah, the top 10. Just to mention as well, Ansel Murray P11, Sebastian Crawford P12, Chloe McGill in the end P13, a gain of 3 in that one. Also a gain of 3 for Arlo Gamble, one of the rookies in that one. Top rookie, we should mention, was Otto Amy in that race, who gained 6 places up to P9. But good run for Arlo, up 3 spots to P14. Top 15 completed by Freddie Walker, Ethan Lloyd, Will Wainwright, the last of the 17 finishers. 2 retirements in that one, Alfie Garrett and Max Armett. So the drivers just taking things in from that first heat for Micromax UK. Let's take a look at some of the highlights from that 10-minute +1 lap heat. Here at the start, great run from Dean Pahal round the outside to take the lead in the early stages, but Benedictas Masiokas would fight back. This is where we lost Alfie Garrett. It's a real shame. Let's say Harris Barber was held up in there, and that as well is how Ethan Lloyd fell down the order. Max Armett, I think, also picked up damage in that one in the Strawberry race in '94, which is why Max didn't continue. Masiokas got the race lead back and took it from the front. The number 72 of Arlo Gamble getting involved with things there, running a touch wide, but would get back on circuit and return to P14. Good drives as well from the likes of Ralph Martin and Albert Farrow. Albert Farrow out a little bit wide there on the exit of the Senna S. And later stages of the race, the number 35 coming through the order as well. This was the really intriguing battle between Ralph Martin and Dean Pahal, which on the road went the way of Ralph Martin, but of course with that +5 second penalty, Pahal would return, or will return,
to P2 in the order. But a good race from those in Micromax UK. Thumbs up for all of our drivers in that one. If you are focused on Micromax, the good news is you will see them later on this afternoon. The not so good news, it's not bad news, it's just maybe not what you want because you want them back on track. No, apologies, you're going to have to wait till 5:10, the last race of the day for Micromax, and the result from that one combined with the results of the one we've just seen will set the grid for the Superheat tomorrow. For now though, we're going to turn our attention away from the Rotax categories to Honda Cadets. They're up next after this short break.
Welcome back to Karting North East, Warden Law, where champions are born. And what better place to head to than Honda Cadets GX200. Really excited for the Honda Cadets here this weekend. A field of 17 of them on the grid. I'd like more. I always want more Honda Cadets, but we'll take 17. Good to see numbers on the rise in this category. And some really, really strong runners in this one. Again, similar to what we just saw with Micromax UK. A mix of new drivers, brand new drivers who we haven't seen in the Wera Tools British Kart Championships before. Ones who we've maybe seen on a one-off appearance and are now going for a full season. And of course, drivers who are returning into Honda Cadet. We saw them in 2024 for a full season, moving up through the ranks, getting quicker and quicker all the time, and now they're going for the championship in 2025. Still quite breezy here at the circuit. The wind is meant to be even stronger tomorrow, which could make driving conditions a challenge. The weather forecast earlier in the week was for rain, which wasn't a surprise, but that has what is a pleasant surprise is that's now gone. I think there's about still a 6% chance of rain tomorrow, but I'm confident that that's not going to be the case for tomorrow. So a few moments until we get the Hondas out on track. Less than a minute, in fact, before we get the Hondas out on track. You can just see them down there in dummy grid. In the foreground there is Archie Loveridge in with Ambition Motorsport for the first time this weekend. We did see Archie race in this category last year. A pole position for Loveridge in this opening heat, which once again will be 10 minutes plus 1 lap. Luke McGall will be on the outside of row 1. We saw Luke racing a few weeks ago. Let's get ready for it though. Honda Cadet GX200 heat number 1 is up next. Time for Honda Cadet GX200. Archie Loveridge starts on pole position with Luke McGall alongside on the front row. Ronnie Jones won the O-Plate in convincing fashion 2 weeks ago. Starts on the inside of row number 2 for this one with Riley Blakemore for company P4. Shailen Srikantan and Archie Cannon starts on row number 3 ahead of debutant Edward Rye and Elliot Bork on row number 4. Row number 5 completing the top 10. Luca Bicocchi now back in for the first time in the main championship since Lark Hall last year, and is joined by another Scots driver. Carl Kerr completes that top 10. Jayan Prakash has made great strides forward in recent months. Starts on the inside of row number 6 and is joined by the privateer Harry Grant. Row 7
Oliver Ratton and Jerry Dufficy, Reggie Dufficy and Luke Jardine go from row number 8. Aidan Donnelly, unfortunately, I don't think he's going to be competing in this one. Didn't set a time in qualifying and is not showing us out on circuit for this one. So it'll be 16 runners. Standing start, of course, because this is Honda Cadet. And that long run down towards turn number 1. Archie Loveridge, best sight of all. No other drivers in front of his number 73. Can he take the advantage off the start here? Green flag in the air to those lights for the first heat in Honda Cadet's GX200 for the 2025 Wera Tools British Kart Championships. We are go in Honda Cadet Cup, and it's a good start for Archie Loveridge. Takes the lead. Luke McGall immediately into second place, and there's a spin for Kyle Kerr. Recovers nicely in the red and black machine there, but the Scottish privateer has not had the kind of start from P10 on the grid that Kyle would have wanted. He's going to be able to rejoin this race and hopefully race back into the pack. Yeah, a bit of a spin there through the first corner. Archie Cannon going wheel to wheel with the number 23 there of Shaylin Srikantan. Srikantan, who was a regular feature towards the front of things in the O plate at Wilton Mill a couple of weeks ago. If you didn't miss any of the racing at Wilton Mill 2 weeks ago, you can watch it back. But there's a spin for Luca Picocchi in the number 77 for Ambition Motorsport. Unfortunately for the Scottish drivers, it's not going their way in this first heat. That's 2 of them that have had a pirouette in the early stages. So, Loveridge leads. McGall P2, good start for Riley Blakemore. Start on the outside of row number 2. Has found a way past Ronnie Jones, the O-plate holder for P3. Good start for Edward Rye as well, who we didn't see 2 weeks ago at the O-plate. He's a local driver to this part of the world. Is from Redcar. And at the moment is running what was in the top 5, is now up to P4. So Edward Rye goes through past Ronnie Jones. Archie Cannon's had a decent start in P6. And for the likes of Prakash, Grant, Ratton, the 2 Dufficies, Jardine, they've all gained 2 places in the early stages of this race. 8 minutes to go. There's the number 23 of Shaylin Srikantan. The black suit, the black cart, and the green helmet. He's running with Archie Cannon at the moment, holder of the S plate. Very strong runner from Scotland. Race control notification. Unfortunately, it's not going well for Luca Picocchi, as plus 5 second penalty for driver number 77. Back at the front though, this is what we like with Honda Cadet. Bigger field, everybody involved, leader not able to break away, keeps the racing close and competitive at the front and into that midfield. And Luke McGall will know now. This is almost following a nice classic rhythm of a Honda Cadet race, where you just need to keep yourself up towards the front, keep yourself in the battle for the later stages. 7 minutes of this one to go. It's a breakaway of 3. Loveridge, McGall and Blakemore. They can keep working together. They can keep that gap to Jones, Rye, Cannon and Srikantan behind. It's just over a second, the gap between 3rd and 4th. We've missed this with Honda Cadet. We've missed these packs of karts going through the middle phase and playing out the tactics. It's such a good breeding ground for racecraft, is Honda Cadet's GX200. And now with more competitors in the field, it is stronger than it has been for the last few years. Archie Loveridge now just starting to edge away from Luke McGall. I wonder in the mind of Riley Blakemore whether there'll be a move being shaped up in the not too distant future. Blakemore, who was P7 in the final championship standings in 2024, so it's one of our returning drivers looking to build on a positive season last year. I just wonder whether there'll be a move from Blakemore to then try and go on the attack to Loveridge later in this race. McGall can respond with a bit of pace over the next few laps, that'll tactically mean that McGall's more likely to stay in second place. And in fact, Luke McGall is now pushing the rear bumper of Archie Loveridge. This has been a really good response from Luke McGall in recent laps to just remind Archie Loveridge that he's still there, still pushing along, and not going away in a hurry. Race control notifications just come through. Unfortunately for Jay Brook, it's a plus 5 second penalty. Blake Moore's gone for the move. It's a bit rough there through the through Gasworks Bend. That's allowed Loveridge to break away, and that's the other thing with Honda Cadet. If you do go for a move and it doesn't pay off, immediately a pack that's around a second behind will be on you. Ronnie Jones has had some good race pace over the last few laps and is now looking at an opportunity to not only get back up into third place, but potentially second. And if this quartet can now work together, they've got enough time here with 4 3/4 minutes remaining in this race to pull what is at the moment of 9/10 of a second gap for Archie Loveridge. They can pull Loveridge back. This race isn't over yet. Can understand why Blake Moore maybe went for the move. Didn't quite work out. You can see there, yeah, the gap is now starting to come back down. Second, third, fourth, fifth. If they hold tight, think it through, they will pull Archie Loveridge back. This is this is not to say that Archie Loveridge isn't doing the right thing. Archie Loveridge is doing everything the leader should at this stage. But 4 engines versus 1 right now is meaning that the race leader, even though there's some tidy pace there, 57.91 last time around, is being pulled back. The gap is now back to 0.5 of a second. The problem for Loveridge, though, is whilst before he was fending 2 drivers off, I think he's going to be fending off 3, maybe 4 drivers off once this pack do close in. Oh, a little bit of a loose moment there for Luke McGall. Ronnie Jones is going to read the opportunity down the inside, potentially take third place away from Riley Blakemore. Blakemore was a bit unlucky there. McGall had a slide out of Senna 1. He got it all together, but there was then a little bit off the pace through Senna 2. Blakemore had nowhere to go, and Ronnie Jones popped down the inside. That was very heads-up racing from the British Open champion from 2 weeks ago. That was also good news for Archie Loveridge, because yes, the gap is coming down still, but not quite at the same rate that we saw earlier. Blakemore's going to have a go for third place. Jones holds to the outside and retains third place. That's allowed McGall to break away and have a bit of a gap. Archie Cannon is on the scene there with the S plate. Is P5 at the moment. I'm continuing to be impressed by Edward Rye here. This is a great run from Edward Rye there in P6. Blakemore back to P3. Moves down the inside of Ronnie Jones in and through Senna 1. It's been a good race, this, to kick off things for Honda Cadet GX200, and it's not done yet. McGall has been able, very nicely, with no help from those behind, McGall has been able to pull Loveridge back. They're bumper to bumper now as they run through the final corner. 2 1/4 minutes remaining. Loveridge points forward to tell McGall, stay with me, don't fight with me. We're a 2 that could stay away now from the pack behind. They do have a good chance here. Again, this is a key aspect of Honda Cadet GX200 racing, that now you've got 2 engines together, can work over the next lap and a half just to keep that gap and potentially grow it from about 7/10 at the moment. They can get it up to 1.5 seconds. That's a big if at the moment. That is quite a big gap to try and pull in the space of maybe 80 seconds or so between now and the point at which inevitably they will start fighting. They will start going wheel to wheel as Ronnie Jones goes down the inside of Archie Cannon. That's all over 4th place. You want to build that battle buffer in Honda Cadet. Fortunately for Loveridge and McGall, such is the pace of Riley Blakemore, I don't think they're going to be allowed to on this occasion. 1 minute and 10 seconds on the clock. I reckon we'll have 3 laps to go on this one. We'll have about 20 to 15 seconds maybe on the clock when they come round again. Then of course there's the +1 lap, so we're back to a 1, 2, 3. We're effectively back to where we were, what, 5 or 6 laps ago, with Loveridge, McGall and Blakemore
clear of the chasing pack behind. Blakemore's now going to have another go for P2. Both of them run wide. McGall into the dust a little bit there. McGall's going to be back with the Cannon, Jones, Streakerton and Rye pack. 30 seconds to go on the clock. Here down the inside goes the S-plate holder Archie Cannon into P3. So this race has gone a little bit wrong now for Luke McGall. I can take some solace from the fact that there's been some good race pace for Luke McGall, and he was able to chase back to the race leader. I think it was 14, 15 seconds to go on the line. So 2 more laps for Loveridge to hold out. Archie Loveridge has done a tremendous job for Ambition Motorsport in this race. Has looked nice and calm whilst everything's been going on behind him. It's looking elsewhere in the field. Harry Grant's up to P9, has gained 3 places in this race, and it's a good run for Jerry Dufficy as well. One of the Irish brothers there is up into the top 10, so it's a really good work again from one of Ambition Motorsport's drivers. Meanwhile, at the very front, it is the number 73 of Archie Loveridge. Oh, goodness me, Ronnie Jones, that shows. I told you there was a fair amount of grip here at Warden Law this weekend. Ronnie Jones was up on 2 wheels there. Such was the level of grip that the inside tyres picked fully, probably half a foot off the ground there. That was a mighty close moment for Ronnie Jones. We're on to the final lap now. Archie Loveridge has laid the foundations for a race victory, but can he build the house now? Can he take it to the house on this final lap of the circuit? Riley Blakemore's going to draw alongside. He's going to have an opportunity here at the inside into Senna 1. Gets the move done. Has Loveridge got anything in his response? Can he do a switch back out of Senna 2? He's going to have at least half an opportunity near side by side as they run through the Dunlop chicane, but there's still a good couple of opportunities for Loveridge to respond. Is he going to dive down the inside into Gasworks? No, thinks better of it. Cannon's up to P3, by the way. Shriekentan's having a good finish there in P4. Loveridge again trying to wrestle the door open to take the race lead back. He's going to potentially have another opportunity on the switchback, but not quite this time. Blakemore takes it in Heat 1. A really entertaining first race of the weekend for Honda Cadet. Second for Archie Loveridge. It's P3 for Archie Cannon. Shailen Shriekentan in 4th. Luke McGall 5th. Ronnie Jones in 6th. Edward Rye, Elliot Bork, Harry Grant and Jerry Dufficy all in the top 10 there. That was proper Honda Cadet. That is what I have missed for the last couple of years. It is great to see the numbers back in Honda Cadet, and the racing is back to its finest form. Well done to Riley Blakemore. That is a win in that number 68. Very happy about it indeed. Archie Loveridge P2, Archie Cannon P3. I think that is all we need to see from Honda Cadet to know that we are going to have some proper racing in Honda Cadet GX200 for this weekend and for the whole of this 2025 season. Do keep your comments coming in. Let us know who you're supporting. Thank you very much for being involved with us today. That does complete things for the first round of heats across all of the categories. Honda Cadet's second heat is tomorrow, so we won't see them again today, but we will see them at 10:50 tomorrow morning here local time in Sunderland for their second heat. And same as we were talking about with the micros, they will all get into the super heat. They will all get through into the final on Sunday afternoon as well, so do make sure that you tune in for that one. As we say, we are past and through the first round of heats. More racing to come up here today as the Rotax categories begin their second round of heats. Hello to Motorsport Magpie, who's been very busy in the chat as ever. Hello to Ethan, who's watching from Australia. Did not just let us know who you're supporting, let us know where you're watching from around the UK and around the world. If you've missed any of the action so far today, don't worry, you can watch it back at your leisure. If you've missed any of the races from the 2 O-Plate meetings so far this year, you can watch that as well
do make sure that you've clicked that subscribe button on both the Alpha Live YouTube channel. Big congratulations to Alpha Live, who've gone through the 50k subscribers barrier in the last few days. Put out a nice montage of things from 2017. Showed me how much hair that I have lost since 2017, but more on that later. Let's watch some of the highlights from that Honda Cadet first heat of the weekend. This was back to the standing start. Good stuff from Archie Loveridge from pole position, and led through the first couple of corners. There was the spin for Kyle Kerr, who recovered well, got back into 13th place in the end for Kyle Kerr. This was the other spin on the first lap. That was the number 77 of Luca Bicocchi going round, who would return home in P14. Elsewhere out on circuit, coming through, number 66 of Edward Wright in the blue, red and white of MS Kart there. Raced well. This was the first moment between Luke McGall and Riley Blakemore. Riley Blakemore, I think quite right there, just holding the outside line, allowing Luke McGall to come back down the inside and retake second place. But this is what I mean by real proper Honda Cadet racing, going back and forth. You see how far back Riley Blakemore was relative to the leader Archie Loveridge at this stage of the race. In other categories, you would say, yep, this is a done deal. You know, it's going to be third is the best you can write about in these kind of races, but that's not what Honda Cadet is about. If you keep your momentum up, if you race smart, you've always got an opportunity of a race win if you're within 2.5 seconds of the front of the field. That was Blakemore down the inside of Luke McGall, their second moment. This was the near, I think that was more than half a foot in the air for Ronnie Jones towards the end. All the rubber that's been laid down across the course of the weekend so far resulted in that close moment there. But a win on the road for Riley Blakemore by 0.12 seconds. Archie Loveridge P2, Archie Cannon P3. More racing here from Warden Law after this short break. Welcome back to Warden Law, to Karting Northeast for the first round of the Rotax classes in this year's Wera Tools British Kart Championships. Getting ready for our next race. Again, we'll see Honda Cadet tomorrow. Race 7 on our schedules is the first appearance in the day for Group A in Minimax, and there is the driver who'll be on pole position for this one, Emerson McCandy-Uren. What can Group A do here versus Group C? We'll find out in a short moment's time. Time for the second heat today for Minimax 950, and Emerson McCandy-Uren, last year's third place driver, starts it from pole position. Max Jolly alongside on the front row for Strawberry Racing. Alfie Mayer and Josh Cormack will start on row number 2. Arthur Farrow, up to Minimax this year, starts on row 3. He's joined by Lucian Smith. Nelson Taylor, brilliant run from Nelson Taylor in qualifying, is alongside Logan Rolfe on row number 4. 2 rookies there. Harry Williams on row 5 is joined by Joshua Cook, George Swire and Alfie Ward on row 6, Leo Livings and Maximilian Aberhart on row 7, ahead of Theo Bradshaw and Austin Owen on row 8. Sebastian Clark and Benjamin Lawn go from row 9, Maria Roberto and Soren Gallagher start on row number 10, Elijah West and Aidan Hammond's due to go from row number 11. Jack Fulbrook Harmer is on row number 12 there alongside James Devereaux. Jensen Walker and Christian Sanguinetti start on row 13. Esme Rosie completes the 27 runners in this one. All drivers read out there are on this grid. Are we ready for racing? Yes, we are. According to race director Nigel Edwards, we are away for 10 minutes plus 1 lap, and it's a good start for Emerson McAndrew-Uren, one of the favourites in Minimax 950 this weekend. Returning after that great run to P3 in the championship last year. There's 2 drivers off towards the back of the field that we'll come back to shortly. But Emerson McAndrew-Uren looks so quick in qualifying early on today. Austin Oman in the thick of things there on the run through the first of the Senna S's. I think Alfie Ward was also looking to gain positions for MLC Motorsports. It's going to be close this year in Minimax 950, but potentially this weekend we could be looking at the end of the season as this weekend being a key one in terms of the experienced runners, how many points they can put on the board before those who last year were in Micromax really get up to speed. But saying that, Alfie Mayer, who is one of those drivers who was at the cadet level last year, is only 0.3 of a second behind the former Micromax champion from 2023, Emerson McAndrew-Uren, and is, I think, going to be giving the DHR drivers some problems here in this one. Side by side between George Swire and Theo Bradshaw, I think that was. Yes, it was Theo Bradshaw in the 145. And Bradshaw's going to have to concede that one on that occasion. Another one of the SFR runners is George Swire in this one. Joshua Cook on the move. O-Plate winner last year in Micromax. A pretty good season as well in Micromax in 2024. Up the order goes Joshua Cook. Should remember as well that any driver who is in Group A arguably got a bit of a tyre advantage. They've not run as many fast laps on their tyres. They'll have done timed qualifying and that's it. Whereas everyone in Group C, we've of course already seen them earlier on today in that first race at the top of the show. With the durability of the tyres that these guys are on from Mojo, it's still a good opportunity for those in Group C to race through. Bit of a rough time there for Austin Oman, loses out a couple of positions to the likes of Theo Bradshaw. I think Sebastian Clark was in there as well. Oman responds back down the inside this time on Alfie Ward. Some good racing out there for the second heat of the day in Minimax 950. And of course for those drivers in Group C, this is a key race. They're all key races, but this one in particular, this is their last chance to race before their super heats tomorrow. They know if they had got a good result in the first heat, get another good one here, you'll be in a strong position for that super heat tomorrow and the first chance of scoring championship points. Subtle revision in the rules for 2025. The 3 chances to score championship points across a Rotax weekend has gone down to 2. Still the same amount of racing, it's just the first batch of championship points will be awarded after the completion of the heats and the super heats. Not like last year where we had the heats, then a pre-final, then a final. It does mean that in terms of total points, there's more weighting on the big one, on the final, when we get to it on Sunday afternoon. 6.5 minutes this second heat in Minimax to go, though. It's still Emerson McAndrew-Uren in the lead. And the leader has been doing some good work in recent laps, because that gap that we were talking about to Alfie Mayer, it was around 0.3 of a second. Emerson has pulled away. It's now 0.8 of a second, and Alfie Mayer is now having to worry about the attentions of Max Jolly behind now. Max Jolly is one of those drivers who's already raced once, so this is a good showing from Max Jolly that he's able to stay with, well, in fact, more than stay with Alfie Mayer, push Alfie Mayer along, even though arguably Jolly is running at a slight tyre disadvantage in terms of peak performance, and the absolute peak performance being gone. There's a problem on the exit of Gasworks. Aberhart is involved. There's another one of the drivers there, I think it was the 150 perhaps. Might have been Sebastian Clark. We'll catch up with that in a moment as there's a change for second place. Through goes Max Jolly past Alfie Mare. It was George Swire, apologies. George Swire was the other driver involved with Maximilian Aberhart. So Aberhart and Swire both down and unfortunately out of the top 20 in this one now. That's not good news for Aberhart, who is one of the drivers in that situation of this being their second and final heat. They will, of course, all make it through to the superheat, but again, it's all just trying to keep yourself high up the order in that top 34 for making the final on Sunday. 5 minutes to go in this one. Halfway through on time. Emerson McAndrew continuing to extend the lead. It's now up to 1.3 seconds clear of Max Jolly. Make that 1.33 seconds to be exact. Alfie Mare in third. Farrow, Smith, Livings, Cormac, Rolfe, Clark and Cook all in the top 10 right now. Great performance from Leo Livings. You see him there in the bright yellow and blue helmet, just to off the back of this group on your screens right now. 7 positions gained for Leo Livings in this race so far, and KR Sport showing that in terms of setup round this track, it's not the easiest of circuits to get your setup right. KR Sport in race trim are doing a very, very good job. Not the first time today that we've been talking about a KR Sport runner driving through the field. Out of the race is Esme Rosie. Real shame there for the English driver for Zip Factory Team. Esme out of this one in the 142, but will get points, of course, for P27. 3.5 minutes now on the clock. Emerson McAndrew looking comfortable in the lead. Max Jolly getting there in P2. I think the main fight is going to be for P3. Oh, as a round there was going one of the Tony Karts, I think. Well, it was the 183. It was the MLC 183 going around there of Alfie Ward. We'll confirm it was Theo Bradshaw also involved. So yeah, Theo Bradshaw will drop from 11th place. That was all on the exit of the dogleg. Bradshaw and Ward, I think, will drop out of the top 25 after that one. And again, we'll talk about the story of Minimax 950 and follow how it flows. But for me, it's all going to be about the small margins this year. This is going to be, I reckon, the tightest battle across all of the Rotax categories in 2025. That's not to say the others in Micro and Junior and Senior won't be close as well. But this is the class where I expect things to go back and forth, and for drivers to have good days, then bad days. I'm not expecting complete domination from one or two drivers in this category. Here's the 144 of Lucian Smith going down the inside of Arthur Farrow for 4th place. Nice move there from Lucian Smith. Very much seems at home there within the KR Sport awning. Arthur Farrow running into the season with Dan Holland Racing, carrying his number 24, number that he raced with last year in Micromax. Up with him, all of these runners. If you're wondering what are the 3 digits all about, where's that come from? This is a name that just based on number that you can tell which category is out on circuit if you're trackside. So apart from those with seeded plates or special plates like Max Jolly's O plate from earlier on in the year, all of the Minimax runners running with a triple digit number, and it's the number 1 at the front. Only the Minimax drivers run with a number 1 at the front. And talking about number 1 at the front, that's where Lucian Smith wants to go. Through past Alfie Mare there for 3rd place. Comfortable move. Unfortunately for Lucian Smith, who was a race winner in 2024. I think there's going to be a little bit too much to do on this one. Oh, big go there from Arthur Farrow. Alfie Mare closes the door. Leo Livings is going to have a shot here at trying to take 5th place away from Farrow, and does so. Arthur Farrow trying to get down the inside through turn 1, and Alfie Mare was having none of that. Holds on to P4. Out of the centre S once again. Arthur Farrow trying to find a way back past Leo Livings for P5. It's going to have a step down the inside into Gasworks. Another routine overtake there. Good space left by Leo Livings. I think he's recognised that if he can push Pharaoh along here, there's an opportunity to potentially catch back up to Alfie Mayer. There's also the job of staying away from Josh Cormack, one of those seeded drivers that we were talking about. Number 9 seed from 2024. It's only 4 tenths behind. Josh Cormack will be looking forward to going to other circuits this year. I was enjoying this weekend, of course, but particularly looking forward to going back to Lark Hall, where he was very, very strong last year. Leo Livings looking strong in the latter stages of this race. Leo Livings back through and past Arthur Pharaoh there. Wonder, is Arthur Pharaoh fading a little bit in the latter stages of this race? Because seems to have lost a little bit of his pace. There's Austin Owen down the inside, going past Sebastian Clark, and is now back up into the top 10. A few drivers with 7 places gained in this race. But actually, your biggest mover is Elijah West. We'll just give mention to Elijah West up to P13. One of the top running rookies in this race as well. It's a good run there for Elijah West in the 119. Logan Rolfe, for the records, is your top runner of those on a rookie designation, P9 overall. Emerson McAndrew though, looking very good this weekend. We'll remember back to last year, of course, where he had a retirement in the final here at Warden Law. He's wanted to put that right in 2025. It's going to be at the top of the leaderboard in Minimax 950 with 1 race to go. Emerson McAndrew out of the final corner, dominates in the first heat for him this weekend, takes heat 2 by nearly 2 seconds ahead of Max Jolly. A good day's work for Max Jolly. We won't see Jolly racing in the 3rd heat tomorrow. It's a very close run on the line there between the 194 and the 191 of Fulbrook, Harmer and Taylor over the line. But good stuff from Max Jolly. 2nd place there. Lucian Smith likewise has been strong across the 2 heats that we've seen here today. Leaves Group C with a good set of results. P3 in that one. Alfie Mayer, Leo Livings, both in the top 5 as well. Arthur Pharaoh, Josh Cormack, Joshua Cook, Logan Rolfe, top rookie, and Austin Owen all in the top 10. On to page number 2. Sebastian Clark, P11, Maria Roberto in 12th. Elijah West, Harry Williams and Aidan Hammond all record results in the top 15. Maximilian Abrahart, tough race there for Abrahart, P16. For Coles, Benjamin Lawn, Jack Fulbrook Harmer, Nelson Taylor and Soren Gallagher all in the top 20. Jensen Walker, George Swire, Christian Sanguinetti, James Devereaux and Alfie Ward in the top 25. 26 finishes in all, completed by Thea Bradshaw, Esme Rosie, the 1 retirement in that one. So the drivers in Parc Ferme, their day is done. The heats aren't quite done for the category. Minimax A versus B will be our race, our final day opener, our first race of the day tomorrow. That'll be at 10 past 10 for those early birds of you with us from 10 o'clock. That'll be our opening piece of entertainment on finals day. And that result, or the result from that one and the results that we've had so far today, will set the grid for the super heats. Just a note as well, if you don't want to hear the results, close your ears now. Let's do the 10 o'clock news bit. So the results from today: Haynes, Jolly, Murrow, Reed, Cormack, the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 in heat number 1. And we say provisionally in this one, McAndrew, Jolly, Smith, Mayer, Livings, the top 5 in heat number 2. So yeah, that has been a good day for Max Jolly, 2 P2s. Let's have a look at some of the highlights from that one, from the 2nd heat of the day for Minimax 950. Back to the start of the race, calm as you like from McAndrew. He knew there would be some form of attack from Jolly on the outside. It's a good start for Alfie Mayer as well. And that was probably the most strenuous part of the race for Emerson McAndrew. There in the background was the moment earlier in the race for some of our starters who lost out in the early stages. Theo Bradshaw was looking to come through, had some good battles along the way. That was the one with George Swire in the 182. Austin Oman had a difficult start but came back through the field in the end, would record a spot in the top 10. Good drive there for the runner-up in Micromax UK in 2024. This was the moment where Alfie Ward and Theo Bradshaw's progress would sadly end. They'd be P25 and P26 in the end. There was the attack as well from Arthur Farrow. Didn't quite work, but a top 6 finish and the second of the DHRs home in that one. This was the fight late on with Leo Livings, and a good step forward, I feel, for Leo Livings so far in this 2025 season. Good to see Leo running consistently up in the top 10 and in the top 5 for this one, but pretty easy run in the end for Emerson McCann-Uran. That gives him the opportunity tomorrow in that A versus B heat where he'll meet Edward Haynes. Those two drivers will be on 0 points, but they both can't stay. They both can't stay on 0 points after that last heat. That'll all be decided tomorrow morning. Short break now. Next up out on circuit, we will return into senior Rotax.
Here at Demon Tweaked, you probably know us for our massive cartwear range. We've got everything from suits, boots, gloves and helmets from the biggest brands in the business. But we are so much more than that, because if you're looking for kart parts, well, we've got you covered too. We've got everything from Rotax parts, sprockets and chains, discs and pads, data loggers and dashers, fuel tanks, steering wheels, bead breakers, and loads more. But of course, it doesn't just stop at the track, and if you're looking to build your skills in the sim, then we've got everything you're going to need to build the ultimate rig. So whether you're just getting started or you're already at the top of your game, Demon Tweaks has got you.
Welcome back to Warden Law, Saturday for Event 1 of the Wera Tools British Kart Championships. The first round of the season for the Rotax categories and for Honda Cadet. There's a quick sight into the timekeeping room, where officials led by Ian Rogers there in the background, just getting ready for the next race out on circuit. Which will be, of course, race number 8. This is another Group A versus Group C race. This time, though, in senior Rotax. It'll be the first time we see Group A today. So they get the privilege of having a bit of a time advantage in this one due to their better qualifying performances earlier on this afternoon. Now in the centre of your screen, the 351 of Lewis Goff. And that is Lewis Goff. For those of you who watched a lot of our content last year, think, no. That driver is way too tall to be Lewis Goff. He has had quite the growth spurt. He came in to have his media photo done yesterday, and I had to say, have you grown? And he said, yes. Yes, he's gone through several kart suit sizes since he was a junior last year. There is your pole sitter, Lizzie Mentier, who had a really good free practice yesterday. The question was, could Lizzie do it again in qualifying? The answer, yes. She starts from pole position. Senior Rotax is next. Heat 2 for senior Rotax then, Groups A and C heading out on track, and it's Lizzie Mentier who starts on pole position, Lewis Gilbert alongside on the front row, Harrison Crowther and Matthew Higgins go from row number 2 ahead of Joshua Graham and Cian Geraghty on row 3. Kai Hunter enters the scene on row 4, is joined by Jack Baker for this one. Jack West and Lewis Goff complete the top 10. They're ahead of Ewan Charman and William Antrobus on row 6. Joshua Turnbull and Jack Lilly start this one from row 7. William Pemble and Matty Hingley go from row 8. Pearson Bullock Carter has work to do, as does Henry Gregory, both from row number 9. Teddy Pritchard Williams in new Origin Motorsport colours is alongside Rachel Robertson on row 10. Neo Clark and Tyler Harris go from row 11, ahead of Marcus King and Jack Gillingham on row 12. Deacon Russell and Luke Bates start from row 13. It's a 27-strong field completed by Jackson Motorsports' Mikey Walker. Results from Senior Rotax Heat number 1. Harry Bartle took it from Lewis Gilbert, Kai Veach, Guy Cunnington and Adam Wooden. Same stories we were talking about in the minis. Anyone on the outside, Gilbert, Higgins, Geraghty, Baker, Goff. This is their second and final heat before the super heats tomorrow. They need good results in this one to keep their momentum going. Lights go out, 10 minutes plus 1 lap begins. There's a little bit of drama in the middle of the pack. I think one of the Hunter Motorsports, it might have been Ewan Charman, was on the grass for a moment there, but it was a good start for Gilbert round the outside. Has Lewis Gilbert been able to hold on to the lead? Yes, he has. Lewis Gilbert leads then from Lizzie Mentier in the early stages. There's been a decent start as well for Harrison Crowther. Strong 2024 for Coles Racing. He's stayed with Coles. Right now, he's there in third place. Keep an eye on Matty Higgins in this race. Had a retirement in the first one. Won't have as much of a tyre disadvantage as some of the others on the anti-pole side of the grid. Hasn't done as many laps on his race tyres on that rubber, so keep an eye on Higgins. Might be pretty quick in this race and needs to be, having had that retirement in heat number 1. End of the first lap then. Gilbert leads. Mentier P2. Great power for Lizzie Mentier here this weekend. The Dan Holland Racing team have really got that kart tuned into the performance window that Lizzie can really enjoy, really perform with, and look to go forward. Meanwhile, her teammate Matthew Higgins is down the inside of Harrison Crowther for P3. Crowther's going to try and hold it round the outside and have an opportunity through Senna 2. No, says the Welshman, shuts the door. That is Higgins up to P3. That kind of result would bring him back into play, having had that result, which will have given him how many points? 27 points. Remember, it's the lower score that is the advantage in this format. So a score of about 30 would get him back into that top 34, I would imagine, and look to then build through the super heats tomorrow. Now Matthew Higgins, he'll want to go further forward than third place through the dogleg. Lewis Gilbert not able to shake off Lizzie Mentier at the moment. Gilbert feeling the need to defend into Senna 1. That's going to keep things tight. Crowther, Graham, Geraghty all there as well. I think Cian Geraghty started to move up through the order. Has got the attentions of Kai Hunter behind. Kai Hunter, of course, on his home circuit. Let's have a look at a replay of the start and how Lewis Gilbert went round the outside from P2 to take the lead in this one. Timed the run to perfection. There you see it was Ewan Charman popped up onto the grass there in 3:42. So those were your moments from lights out. Jack West is your fastest driver out there. Another driver who's in pretty good form at the moment. 50.39 for Jack West, currently P6 on the road. But Gilbert's keeping things close in this one. Mentier has a look, but not able to draw alongside as through goes Kai Hunter into 7th place, past Cian Geraghty. Has driven thousands, if not tens of thousands of laps of this place, has Kai Hunter. As Crowther looks down the inside of Lizzie Mentier. So Higgins has got through into 2nd place in recent moments. Mentier still there in P4. Joshua Graham not too far behind, a race winner last year, of course. Seeded 8th in the final championship standings, hence why he's not running with a triple-digit number starting with 3 in this field. Joshua Graham will definitely be looking to build on from that P8 finish in the championship last year. Through into the Senna S's once again. Lewis Gilbert still leading this one. Matthew Higgins looking to strike back, looking to bounce back from that disappointment. The driver who won at Kart Masters last year, of course, hence why he's running that GP plate, is Hunter down the inside once again. Takes 6th place this time, away from Jack West. Higgins 3rd in the World Championships, also at PF International in the autumn last year. Didn't do the full championship, the Wera Tools British Kart Championships schedule in 2024, but when we did see Higgins in action, he was one of the front runners. Been a seeded driver in the past, of course, as well. Lewis Gilbert checks over the shoulder, subtle line there, in and through the first part of the centre S. That's Higgins' opportunity, but Gilbert holds it round the outside. Pincered Higgins to the apex. Higgins not able to get off the corner, and that's another situation with Higgins after that retirement earlier. He can't afford any kind of plus 5 second penalties in this race, particularly with it so tight. At the moment, 5 seconds covers all the way down to Henry Gregory in P19. So Higgins just making sure that he remains there in second place and doesn't open that one open to be discussion with the race officials. Quite wise driving, if you ask me, from Matthew Higgins. Out to the dogleg once again. Crowther still there in third place. Gilbert goes defensive into centre one. Makes that single move. She's allowed to do, but is there an opportunity now for Higgins? Gilbert shuts the door. Higgins not far enough alongside to realistically go for a move there into Dunlop, but you feel at the moment that Matthew Higgins has got more pace than Lewis Gilbert. But it's stacking up behind as well. Crowther still third, Mencia fourth, Graham and Hunter completing the top 6. And Ewan Charman there as well, Kai Hunter's Hunter Motorsport teammate. He's looked pretty quick so far this weekend. Switched over to that team halfway through the 2024 season. He said yesterday during the build-up show has hit the ground running in the CS55 machine. Gilbert really on the defensive now through centre 1 and 2. This is going to start making things difficult for those in the middle of this pack because more drivers are going to join. Jack West's going to join, Lewis Goff's going to join, Joshua Turnbull's going to be in there as well. They're all going to be looking for a way forward. The pace at the moment down in the high 50.88 last time around for Lewis Gilbert, so they're almost a second off the best laps that we've seen so far in this heat. 3 minutes and 10 seconds to go. Warning flag for Lewis Gilbert. I thought that might come. Now, the drivers have been given the directions in the guidelines for driving standards that there is a limit to how much they can defend and basically slow the pack down, particularly in the middle of races. Lewis Gilbert has been given his warning. He's been given his notification from race control that they have noted how he's driving and said this can't continue for the rest or the whole of this 2.5 minutes remaining. We have seen this process be put in before. We have seen drivers not heed the warning and as a result lose race victories. That's not what's going to happen at this stage. It's just a warning at this point, and we should note now that Lewis Gilbert has now started to stretch things out again. So in a way, this could be quite a strong tactical play from Lewis Gilbert. You can see how he's stopped defending, stopped driving down the middle of the road. That's absolutely fine, and is now looking to stretch things out a little bit more and let the others have battles amongst themselves. This is very good playing of the situation by Lewis Gilbert. The last lap time, well, we were talking about 50.8s and 50.9s, he's just popped in a 50.36. You can see how the top 4 have started to stretch away now. Joshua Graham's going to be under a bit of pressure here from Ewan Charman. There's been a swap in the Hunter Motorsport ranks. Charman has got ahead of the O-Plate winner from a few weeks ago, Kai Hunter, who took his 4th senior O-Plate, his 5th O-Plate of any description across his career. Now into the championship. The job for Hunter, he wants that number 1 plate back. Of course, he won in 2023. Driver was a big part of the DHR Championship campaign that year, though. Matthew Higgins there in P2. Has he got the pace now to find a way past Lewis Gilbert? Second place would still be a very good result for Matthew Higgins. But again, getting back up the order in the intermediate classification. And a retirement in the first race, if you weren't with us earlier on this afternoon. 40 seconds of this race to go. 2 more laps for the drivers out there. Just a note on those coming through the field. Teddy Pritchard Williams, Super Ted, is soaring through, has gained 6 places in this one, is up into the top 15, solidly into the top 15. The number 4 seed from last year, 13th to be exact. Mikey Walker as well has gained 8 places for Jax Motorsport and is up into the top 20. 10 seconds remaining on the clock. Gilbert into Gasworks again. Defensive work from the 357. That's William Antrobus on your screens. And yes, he is wearing Will Archer's helmet. For those who keep an eye on the artistic license of the drivers. I'm not sure why William's wearing other Williams' helmet today, but it's serving him pretty well. He's on for 2 top 10s at the moment. It's the runner-up from the Junior Rotax Championship last year. Meanwhile, back at the front, Lewis Gilbert. Can he hold off Matthew Higgins? Does Matthew Higgins go for a move? He needs a result here. He can't go all in. It's not worth losing a potential 2-point score, a low score, to gain another 2 points. And I think Gilbert knows that. Doesn't have to defend too hard in and through Gasworks. Higgins is still there though. Gilbert's got to get this one off the final corner and get it to the line. Lewis Gilbert is going to be towards the front of things in the Super Heats tomorrow. He takes heat number 2 from Matthew Higgins, who is back in the game. Harrison Crowther P3. That's a solid start for Harrison Crowther here this weekend at Warden Law. P4 for Lizzie Menzier. Good conversion of a pole position into strong points in that one. Joshua Graham, Ewan Charman, Kai Hunter, Jack West, Lewis Goff and William Antrobus all in the top 10 there. Joshua Turnbull P11. But Lewis Gilbert takes the win, and I've got to say that was some shrewd tactical play there from Lewis Gilbert. He knew where the boundaries were, and he stayed within them, got the warning flag, but no more than that on our live race control timing and scoring there. Gilbert wins, Higgins, Crowther, Menzier, Graham, Charman, Hunter, West, Goff and Antrobus as mentioned, all in the top 10. P11, Joshua Turnbull. Kin Geraghty might be a bit disappointed there with P12. Lost some positions in that one. That was, of course, Geraghty's second race. Teddy Pritchard, Williams P13. Matty Hingley P14. Jack Baker, Jack Lilly in the mid-pack there ahead of Pearson, Bullock, Carter. Henry Gregory, Mikey Walker and Neo Clark. That was your top 20. Rachel Robertson lost 1 position, finished P21. Luke Bates, William Pemble, Deacon Russell, Tyler Harris, Jack Gillingham and Marcus King, all finishers. 27 started, 27 saw the checkered flag. So plenty to think about there from Senior Rotax. I say I think it's going to be good racing here this weekend, but I think it's going to be different to what we saw last year. A lot of dramatic moments, a lot of fireworks in Senior Rotax this year. I think now the blend of drivers that we've got for 2025 is going to be a real thinking drivers game for at least this weekend here at Warden Law. We will see Senior Rotax back, of course, in the morning. Their A versus B race is the second race of the day, so 10:30 tomorrow morning local time here. Second race of the day, as we say, for the A versus B heat, and then their super heats, because of course we'll have some of the drivers that we've just seen there we won't see till the super heats. The super heats at 12:50 and 13:10. Everybody makes it through to the super heats. There will either be super heat A or super heat B. That'll be all down to how they look in the intermediate classification after the completion of that third heat that we mentioned will be at 10:30. So that's the order of things for Senior Rotax going forward. We look forward to seeing them tomorrow morning. They'll get some good rest overnight. All of them have raced at least once. Group C have, of course, raced twice. 3 more races to go here today at Warden Law for Saturday of Event 1 for the Wera Tools British Kart Championships 2025. And Junior Rotax will be our next port of call. 2 races for them. Groups A versus D racing for the second time. Before we get to Junior Rotax, though, let's have a look at some of the highlights from that intriguing second heat for Senior Rotax. Key moments here, round the outside went Lewis Gilbert into the race lead. And it was this middle phase of the race where Lewis Gilbert quite clearly had a plan, knew he had a bit of a tyre deficit to those behind, particularly Matthew Higgins, who, yes, was in his second race but didn't run many laps of his first race. And he kept it bottled up, he kept it tight, he kept all the others, your Menzies, your Grahams, your Charmans, your Hunters, all of them guessing versus one another. He got to the point where, of course, he had the warning, then he started to stretch it out at the front, playing within the boundaries of the guidelines, and if you ask me, doing so quite smartly was Lewis Gilbert there. In the end, winning by 2/10 from Matthew Higgins, Crowther, Menzies, Graham all in the top 5. So not many position changes in that top 10 in the second half of the race. I think that was one of those races where drivers were just getting through this one, taking it to their final heats tomorrow, keeping themselves as high up the order as possible, limiting the amount of risk that they were taking today in those heats. That won't be the order of the day tomorrow, of course. Once they get to the final, the gloves will properly be off. We can, of course, look forward to that on Sunday afternoon. Junior Rotax is up next after this short break. Welcome back to Warden Law and to the Wera Tools British Kart Championships. Not too long away before we get into Junior Rotax's third heat of the day, second racing appearance for Groups A and C. And you can see the concentration of the drivers psyching themselves and getting themselves in the zone for this next one of 10 minutes plus 1 lap. Andrew Mather on commentary duties for you today here up in the northeast of England. Let's take you through the grid then for this next one. Leon Hasty will be on pole position for race 9, heat number 3 for Junior Rotax, the O-plate holder, having taken that British Open title a few weeks ago. We'll have Kai Clark for company in this one alongside on the front row. Very good run so far for Kai Clark in this event. Ryan Gandor and Albie Lapper will be next on row number 2. Cian Bernard and Cole Denham on row 3. Albie Friend and Vlad Tomanchuk on row 4, ahead of Ellis Bell and Zane Quaker completing the top 10. Alfie McBain and Noah Barham are next up on row number 6. Louis Radcliffe and Jensen Chalk on row number 7. Marta Kubahidze and Eva Morris on row 8. Ewan House and William Archer needing to move forward from row 9. Henry Cameron and Sam Mott likewise on row number 10. Bella Stansmore Wilson And Riley Cranham starts on road number 11 ahead of Oliver White and Benjamin Baker. Row 12, row 13, Joe Yao and Connor Large. Row 14, DeJohn Bennett and Kieran Stewart. Samir Paul completing the runners in this one, 29 of them in total. So the news from the first couple of heats for the heat winners, no change. So we will see someone lose their unbeaten record in this race, and the drivers almost on cue, telepathically on cue from myself here in the comms box. Cause a false start, bit more time to run down what you may have missed earlier if you weren't with us. So first heat of the day went the way of Leon Hasty, your pole sitter in this one. Albie Friend was P2, Charlie Wolf at P3, Ryan Gandor P4, Archie Love at P5. There was a penalty for Matteo Palazzo, which dropped the Scottish driver down to P11 in that one. Heat number 2, Kai Clark won that one. So both front row drivers are on 0 points at the moment heading into this second round of heats. Noah Barham was P2, Vlad Tomanchuk was P3, Jacob Ashcroft and John Buchan completing the top 5. No penalties from what I can see there from the quick mental maths in the top 5 in heat number 2. That was the results from the first round of heats. This is the second round of heats with our biggest field of the day, 57 drivers in total across the categories in this one. Here we go for 29 of them, away for 10 minutes plus 1 lap. Once again, good start for Leon Hasty. Running towards the dogleg for the first time. Can all of them make it through? Looking pretty good in the front half of the field. Spoke too soon. Looks like one of the ultimate R's has been wide. It was Zane Klecker who had problems in the first round of heats as well. Not as dramatic there at the start of this second round of heats. But for the driver who started 10th on the grid, that's going to be a loss of positions in the early stages of this one. Round into Gasworks for the first time then. So it is the two drivers who both won their first heats, still at the front of the field. Cian Bernard having some difficulties out there, losing a position through Gasworks, having a bit of a rough time of it. End of this first lap. Hasty leads from Clark. So if it was to finish this way, Hasty would be guaranteed leader of the intermediate classification after round 2. Because remember, the next closest driver in the scores at the moment, I think it's going to be Charlie Wolfett. Yes, it would be Charlie Wolfett on 3 points, and can't go negative points in this system. There's a move from Cole Denham. Solidly in the top 5 at the moment is Cole Denham. Past Ryan Gandor there for 4th place. Rest of the field running through. Eva Morris has had a good start. Eva's up to P9 now, so that's a gain of 7 places in the early phase of this race. Sam Mott is out there also on the move. Change for the lead. Kai Clark through past Leon Hasty. Not just for the lead of this race, but also the lead in the intermediate classification. Good few laps as well from Albie Lapper. First of those green and white Strawberry Racing machines. 51.94 for Lapper. And should note as well, we've been talking about with the seniors, we've been talking about with the minis, about tyre advantages. None of that here as Lapper down the inside of Hasty takes 2nd place away from the British Open champion. No tyre advantages or disadvantages in this one. Everybody has raced once already. Bit of an open of the flap there from Kai Clark. Albie Lapper is absolutely flying here. This is great to see from Albie Lapper. Had a tough 2024 at times. But Nanny Babs is going to be really, really pleased at the moment in this one, because Albie Lapper's got a genuine chance of a race victory here. Doesn't quite go for the move yet on Kai Clark on the run into the Senna S. Particularly as it's another close one, this. Denham, Gandor, Friend, all within a second of the race leader at the moment. So if you do make a bit of a rash moment in this top 6, you're going to lose out big time. That was a nice move from Ryan Gandor. Nice and calm, leant on the front tyres, made sure that the grip was there to get through past Cole Denham for P4. Clark checks over the shoulder once, twice. Oh, little move there just to stop Albi Lapper going for a mega brave one down the inside into turn 1. But you've got to say, from the body language of these drivers, the body languages of these karts, I think Albi Lapper has got the speed here to try and find a way through. And he's got the move as well. Through goes Albi Lapper into the race lead. Hasty up to P2 as well. Clark tried to shut the door there on Albi Lapper. But not to be on that occasion. So Lapper leads, Hasty P2, Kai Clark P3, Cole Denham is now up to P4, plus 5-second penalty for Zane Quaker. So it's been a tough day for Zane. Not a good result in the first race. Moment on the early stage of the second one as Hasty's having a go here at Lapper, and Lapper's off the road. Hasty trying to go around the outside. That's not going to work out. This could open the door for Kai Clark to retake the lead of this race, and Kai Clark does retake the lead of this race. Nearly 3 wide in the background between Hasty and Albi Friend getting involved there as well, but Albi Lapper and Leon Hasty going wheel to wheel there. Quite forceful racing between the two of them has allowed Kai Clark to step back through, retake the lead of this race, and now look to try and gallop away. Lapper was still there in second place though, so didn't lose too much in that affair. Albi Lapper again, he's got such good speed down the main pit straight here. Lapper trying to look round the outside, isn't going to be able to get through there. Turn 1 very much tightens on exit before they get to Brian's Bend and then the dogleg. Down through St. John's. Albi Lapper, this is where he got the move done a few laps ago to take the race lead. Ryan Gandor still there as well. In third place, Leon Hasty's back up to P4. Vlad Tomanchuk having another solid run here. Has already got some good points on the board from the first round of heats. And again is present there in the top 5. Ellis Bell is joining the party in this one also. The Coles Racing 246. Good to see Ellis Bell back in the paddock. I don't think we've seen Ellis back in the paddock since Lark Hall last year. Apologies if I'm mistaken, but it's been a really strong effort for another one of the Scottish drivers here so far this weekend. 3 minutes and 45 to go. Key lap there, I feel, for Kai Clark, because he's just edged away from Albi Lapper. Is Albi Lapper tiring a little bit? Is Albi Lapper coming to this race with a lot of energy in the early stages and is not quite at the moment to keep going at that same turn of speed that we saw earlier on? Or is it simply Kai Clark digging deep, pushing hard here in this second round of heats? Through into Gasworks once again. Hasty has a little look on Gandor as out is Joe Yao in 289. There's another driver involved there which we'll identify in a short moment's time. I think it might be, yes, it's Samir Paul in a 213. Both of them are running 23rd and 24th places at the last count, so unfortunately for them they are out. And it's going to leave them with a tough run and a tough prospect in the super heats tomorrow, because remember, this is the category that is hardest to break through into the final. It's got the highest number of drivers that will not make the cut for Sunday's final. None of them want to start their Wera Tools British Kart Championships in that way. Top 2 have broken away now. Clark and Lapper have gone, I would say, probably about a second on Gandor and Hasty, who are fighting hard over third place. That's a nice reading of the road by Vlad Tomanchuk. Hasty going to the outside. Tomanchuk steps through the door on the inside, gains a position out of that. Hasty now having to hold off Albi Friend. Cole Denham has lost out in that exchange as well, as back with the race leaders. Kai Clark shuts the door on Albi Lapper down the pit straight. Yes, it's only the second round of heats, but the key for this one is it's the final round of heats. This is all drivers knowing that it's so tight here in Junior Rotax. And if they can keep themselves up the front ahead of those super heats tomorrow. They could be on for some good championship points. There's Friends down the inside of Hasty. That's for P5. So Albie Friend showing once again that he's got the pace here in Junior Rotax. 90 seconds to go on the clock. Defensive line from Cole Denham. That's all to keep Eva Morrison, Ellis Bell and Noah Barham behind. Noah Barham's been a bit quieter in this race. It was a great run in the first round of heats. We've not seen Noah moving through the field to the extent that we saw earlier on today. Just 2 positions gained for Barham right now. Meanwhile, back at the front of the field, Clark from Lapper, 0.28 of a second. Ryan Gandor has driven really, really well in this race. Will be licking his lips at the opportunity here of at least a top 3 for the Canadian. Through the Dunlop chicane go the race leaders. Lapper, that was more of a defensive position there into Gasworks as opposed to an attacking one. It worked, just kept Ryan Gandor behind there. Ryan Gandor locked in 3rd place. 2 laps to go then. Clark again, knowing that he's going to make the move to hold Lapper off. It's that run out of the final corner where Lapper is particularly strong. Over the flat curb on the exit of the dogleg again. Into Senna 1 and Lapper is knocking on the door. Is there an opportunity here now for Gandor to step down the inside? Beautifully done. Good switch back from Lapper. Saw that coming, didn't panic. Holds on to 2nd place. Vlad Tomanchuk still there as well in P4. Is Albie Friend going to have a go as well into Gasworks? Lapper holds on to P2. That could be the key point of this race for Kai Clark. For the first time in a few laps, Kai Clark has got a gap. Shouldn't need to defend too hard down into turn 1. Checks over the shoulder, sees that he's got the gap, doesn't need to swing across, can take turn 1 with that normal line. That's all fine. And as we say, Albie Lapper has been strongest in that part of the circuit. Has Kai Clark got this heat sewn up? It would be a big one. It would leave him at the top of the intermediate classification. It would leave him with a 3-point lead in that IC as well, even before we see the 2nd heat of this 2nd round for Junior Rotax. It would secure him pole position for Super Heat A tomorrow, down through Gasworks, round through the Horseshoe, at a circuit where things ended very well in the British season for Kai Clark last year when he booked his ticket to Grand Finals. Kai Clark is back here in Junior Rotax and on top at the end of day 1. 2 races, 2 wins, a superb performance from Kai Clark. Drivers head on into pit lane. Clark wins it by 1/4 of a second. Albie Lapper, very good performance there. Nana Babs is very proud, happy and proud with that one. P2 for the Strawberry Racing youngster. P3 for Ryan Gandor, P4 for Vlad Tomanchuk, P5 for Albie Friend, and then a trio of Scottish drivers up next. Hasty, Denham and Bell take us down to 8th place. Noah Barham P9 and Zane Quecker recovered nicely there to get into the top 10, but we should note also does have a +5 second penalty that unfortunately will actually drop Quecker down quite a way, because that was a close run thing, particularly in the midfield. Going on to page number 2, Eva Morris, P11, Jensen Chalk, Riley Cranham, good drive there from Cranham, up 9 places in that one. Bit of a difficult race for Cian Bernard, lost 9 places. William Archer completes the top 15. Alfie McBain, Marta Kavahidze, Louis Radcliffe, Benjamin Baker and Ewan House all in the top 20. Sam Mott, Henry Cameron, Oliver White, Conor Large and DeShaun Bennett record results in the top 25. They'll have things to think about overnight before those super heats tomorrow. Also making it through to the end, all drivers again who started that race finished. DeShaun Bennett, P25 as we say, Kieran Stewart, Bella Stansmore Wilson, Samir Paul and Joe Yao finishing down the top 29. Let's have a look at some of the highlights from that one. The big question, which of the front row sitters were going to lose their unbeaten record in the early stages? They looked pretty good for Leon Hasty, comfortably led in those early moments. There was Zane Quaker's dramatic start to the race, taking to the grass for a moment. And in the early stages, I'd say the front row sitters were looking pretty confident, looking comfortable, some good changes of position further behind. This was the key point, though, for Kai Clark in the story of this race. Taking the initiative, getting to the front. Albi Lapper, around laps 2, 3, 4, 5, was looking quick as well, was through into P2. Went for the lead and got the race lead. Beautiful move from Albi Lapper. This is where things broke down a little bit. Kai Clark reading this very nicely. Just held back a little bit there on the approach to St. John's. Knew that both Hasty and Lapper would run wide. Got through and didn't look back from there. Had to fend off Albi Lapper, though. Albi Lapper was very, very quick down the straights. But Kai Clark able to position his kart in such a manner that there would be no realistic opportunity for Lapper to get through. Clark wins it. Lapper P2. Ryan Gandor, a very nice third place to boot. So, penultimate race of the day coming up. It'll be race number 10 in our schedules. The fourth heat for Junior Rotax, the second of this second round. Just to note, how are we looking in the intermediate classification with one race to go? Do bear in mind this is a rundown. Some drivers have done 2 races, some drivers have yet to do their second race, so they've got a race in hand in a way. Kai Clark, of course, leads. That's locked in. 0 points. Nobody can topple Kai Clark from P1 in the intermediate classification. Going into this next race, Charlie Wolfett, who is on the front row, will be looking to hold on 3 points if possible. That would secure Superheat B pole position for Charlie Wolfett. So Charlie Wolfett at the moment is second on 3 points. Jacob Ashcroft is third on 4. John Buchan is fourth on 5. Should note as well, if there is a tie on points in the intermediate classification, we go back to timed qualifying earlier on today. That acts as tiebreaker. So the qualifying classification is your tiebreaker for any joint points. So that's why at the moment Buchan is ahead of Archie Lovett, both of them on 5 points, 4th and 5th in the standings. Hasty drops to 6th after that result, is still ahead of Charlie King on tiebreaker for 6th versus 7th. Hasty, of course, could still move further up because the likes of Lovett, Buchan, Ashcroft and Wolford, if they all start accumulating points, in fact, if they all recorded the exact same result that they had in the first round of heats, you would see Hasty go back up to P2 in the IC. So still a possibility that Leon Hasty will be on the front row for tomorrow. Charlie King, as mentioned, is P7 on 6. Ryan Gandor at the moment is completing the top 8 on the standings, in that intermediate classification on 7 points. So it's still very close, of course, in Junior Rotax. Keep your comments coming in. Hello once again to David Whitehouse, Motorsport Magpie. Hello to Jason Livings as well, who is obviously here with Leo Livings. And yes, very much notes that Leo Livings did have a trip to the Med team earlier on in the weekend, and is driving in a very spirited manner through the course of things in Minimax. We will keep reading out your comments across the course of the afternoon. Formation will be underway shortly for Junior Rotax Heat 4. In fact, yes, Junior Rotax Heat 4 is up next.
Here we go then, heat number 4 for Junior Rotax, the second of the second round. John Buchan on pole position, Charlie Wolfett alongside on the front row. Isaac Barker and Charlie King go from row number 2, they're ahead. KR Sport Duo
of Harry Freeman and Matteo Palazzo. Sebastian Lusch didn't have a good first race, but has got a good opportunity on row 4 here. He's joined by Archie Lovett. Jacob Ashcroft will look to race through from row 5. He's joined by Daniel Minto. Jack Collinson on home ground starts on row 6. He's joined by Luca Holmes-Ballack. Row 7, Jared Fox-Whiteley and Finley Lines. Lines needs a good result in this one. Harry Holland and Jake Flewitt are on row number 8. Taylor, Griffiths, Buck and Hartley take us down to P20. Chandaria, Harper, Steenman Kong and Gray to P24. Dixon Cohen, Nelson, Turner and Wade complete the 28 runners in this one. So out of the final corner, into the tram lines. Are we away at the first time of asking? No, that is not one to the standards of our race director, Nigel Edwards. We will go round again. So, still 10 minutes plus 1 lap for these guys. And if you're just joining us, this is the last heat for Junior Rotax here today. And we'll see all of these drivers in action in the super heats tomorrow. They, in fact, will kick off the super heats section of the programme. So if you are waiting for when drivers in groups A and C are back out, they'll be in a subtly different order, of course, in those super heats, 11:10 and 11:30 for the Junior Rotax super heats. Oh, now that is a problem for one of the strawberry runners. I think that might have been Pano Stienmonkong from Thailand. Yes, it was. Panu's not gone through the second sector, so I think that is going to be the 2-on-2 out of this one, unfortunately. We are green, we are racing for 10 minutes plus 1 lap, very even across the front row in the early stages. John Buchan's going to hold on, though, to the race lead. Charlie Wolfett's done well to hold around the outside and keep on to P2. Down towards St. John's the first time. All remaining runners in this one have got through. A bit of a moment for Jared Fox-Whiteley there, the 2:22 for Jack's Motorsport. Lost a couple of positions, but at least kept himself on the road. One of the Sam Pollitt Racing entries running wide. That might have been Luke. That might have been Jack Collinson in the 291. Through Horseshoe for the first time. John Buchan, I liked how he started that race. Was nice and brave. Held his line on the inside. Was not going to be overtaken round the outside, but he might have to do a bit more work here to hold off a charging Charlie Wolfett. Harry Freeman's had a really good start. Has started on the 3rd row of the grid and is already up to P3, so it's KR Sport again. Whatever they've been doing with their setups here today, we have often seen KR Sport drivers moving forward, particularly in the early stages of races, making big turnovers of positions gained. I'm going to mention another one of them. Wales's Ethan Griffiths, another from that camp, is the biggest mover, or one of the biggest movers on that first lap, as Wolfett goes down the inside for the race lead, takes the lead away from Buchan. Freeman's through as well into P2. Time for John Buchan to reset now, of course. And he's there in 3rd place. So to finish the point on Ethan Griffiths, up 5 places. As out of the race there was Jack Collinson. It's not been the home circuit weekend that Jack Collinson would have wanted so far this weekend. Charlie Wolfett plus 5-second penalty. Now I wonder, was that something from the race starts? There was an under investigation as down the inside goes Freeman for the race lead. Freeman takes the lead in Junior Rotax away from Wolfett, but Wolfett has bigger problems on his plate now. Don't know if we can get a start replay. I just wonder, was it tram lines for Charlie Wolfett? Sometimes in the early stages of these races, oh, that was a close moment there between, I think, Isaac Barker. Yes, it was in the 250 for DHR. A bit of tyre smoke being kicked up there. The 236 of Sebastian Lusch is also involved. That's all around what is now 8th place. Ethan Griffiths is on a tear. Forget his positions gained. Now let's have a look at the start again. Keep an eye on Charlie Wolfett. Does he move out of tram lines before lights go out? No, that looks okay to me. So it must be for something else that the officials have spotted. But the 295 was under investigation and has now got a plus 5-second penalty. So right now that would move Wolfett down to P22. Yes, still the best part of 7 minutes of this race to go. But for Wolfett, this is now a bit of a time trial. There's Jake Flewitt on your screens. Needs a good result in this one, having had problems in the first round of heats. Through the first few corners then. We're on lap number 5 of this one now. Oh, Freeman and Wolfett both pushing things here. They are dropping John Buchan at the moment. They need to keep an eye on Jacob Ashcroft though. Jacob Ashcroft is looking quick again in this one. Is already up to P4. Matteo Palazzo as well is currently your fastest driver on circuit at 51.42. Just gained the single position so far in this one. Other drivers through the field. Finley Lines. Now, Finley Lines will have a bit of a tyre advantage in this one because he didn't do that much of the first race. The Argenti Academy driver is racing from the Sam Pollitt Racing awning this weekend. Good link up there. Of course, running on a Kart Republic chassis. The Argenti organisation, big part of the importing of the Kart Republic chassis into this part of the world. Just over 5 minutes of this race to go. Daniel Minto going pretty quickly as well. It's there in P6. Did a 51.3 last time around. Freeman and Wolfett doing a good job here, and Wolfett's doing the right thing in that not trying to go too hard at Harry Freeman. He doesn't want to put Harry Freeman in the mindset of thinking that he needs to defend. He needs to run this as a time trial. Just hold off in a place where he'll be gaining track time as Ashcroft down the inside goes through past Buchan for P3. But stretch this out. This is the plan now for Charlie Wolfett. Stretch this field out. Negate that 5-second penalty in terms of positions as much as he can. We talked about it's off there. The 230 of Daniel Minto and John Buchan in the 293. That's all gone wrong through Senna 1. That is how quickly this Warden Law circuit can bite. That was all around 4th place. We've been talking about the pace from Freeman and Wolfett trying to stretch it out at the front of the order. That second group trying to push on, and it ends in tears for those drivers involved. Back at the front of the order, Freeman and Wolfett. So where would Wolfett's penalty now drop? Well, it would up in around the top 10. I think 10th place would be where Charlie Wolfett would end up right now if the 5-second penalty was to be applied with these gaps. And I say that will continue to grow. You would think with the field spread that has been established now. There out of the race is John Buchan. That's a real shame for John Buchan. He's checking around, making sure that there's not too much damage on the kart. But Buchan out and will fall down to 25th place, possibly 26th place once the others have come through. Will again have a spot in the superheats, but won't be starting at the absolute sharp end. Won't be starting on the front row like we saw for Buchan in this particular heat. 3 minutes to go then. Freeman and Wolfett continuing to do things brilliantly at the front of the field. Tactically, they've got this one spot on. There's one of the KRs running around there with a slightly deranged NASA panel. I don't think it's flicking around and getting any more dangerous as Wolfett's gone down the inside. Now, yes, that is for the lead on the road, but it's not necessarily for the lead in the race once the plus 5-second penalty has been applied. I think the reason for Wolfett's move is the astonishing pace at the moment of Jacob Ashcroft. We have seen this in free practice.
We didn't quite see it in time qualifying, but Jacob Ashcroft is back in the mood now for winning races. A 51.16 last time around, a 51.39 this time on lap number 9. Ashcroft has a chance here of taking this heat. In terms of the intermediate classification, this is very provisional. Clark, as we know, P1, 0 points, can't be beaten. Wolfett is on 3. But again, with that 5-second penalty, that'll convert into positions lost in this race, which will also be IC points. So right now, Hasty could still be on the front row of the grid, or even on pole position for Superheat B tomorrow, because Hasty is back up to 3rd in the intermediate classification. Gandor and Friend and Tomaczuk and Ashcroft, for that matter, all on 7 points. P's 4 down to 7. Let's have a look at a replay. I think this is of the incident earlier at Senna 1. So Minto's going to go down the inside. Oh, make contact there. And then is kind of like fired through and over the top. And into John Buchan. So it was Matteo Palazzo also involved there. You've got a feel for John Buchan there. He'll have been going through Senna 1, minding his own business and suddenly thinking, what on earth has happened there? Buchan out of the race. And, well, will not be too happy, I'd imagine, with that one. Meanwhile, back at the front of the order, there's been a change for P1 on the road. Freeman has got through. Ashcroft has also got past Wolfett. Wolfett again is still in this time trial mode. Right now, the penalty would drop him to P11. Here, though, Ashcroft goes from 7 to 6 points. Ashcroft could have Superheat B pole position here if Ashcroft can find a way past Freeman. Freeman at the moment is holding 8th place in the intermediate classification. 8 points is as good as Freeman can do, so he's counting on others on 6 and 7 to continue dropping positions and putting points on their scorecards to move himself further up the order. But for Jacob Ashcroft, this is a very straightforward situation. It's win and in to get one of those Superheat pole positions in Junior Rotax tomorrow. Time is up. We're not quite on the final lap yet, though. Final lap board will be shown this time around. What has Jacob Ashcroft got? What has Harry Freeman got coming as well? Because an investigation notice has just come up on our boards for the 278. Ashcroft could potentially just sit in second place here and wait to see what happens later on and after this race. But I don't think that's the Jacob Ashcroft way of doing things. He will want to take this one on the road and not leave anything to chance with investigations and the like. But Freeman's doing a good job here to keep this defensive position on the road. Could still be an opportunity for Wolfett. Could also be an opportunity for Archie Wolfett. Defensive into Gasworks once again. Ashcroft looking to the outside. That would be a mega brave run from Ashcroft to go all the way round the outside and take the position from there. He's not going to be able to do so. Harry Freeman comes out of the final corner, takes the 4th and final heat in Junior Rotax here today. Second for Jacob Ashcroft, and I reckon will at least be on the front row of a Superheat of some description, because it's 0 for Clark, 6 points apiece for Hasty, Wolfett and Ashcroft. That is before you apply the 5 seconds to Charlie Wolfett. So his score of 3 in that race will actually, well, at least just on the provisional, just apply that 5 second penalty, will drop him to 11th. So yes, so Ashcroft would go from 4th to 3rd in the IC after that. Gandor, Friend, Tomaczuk and Freeman all in the top 8 at the moment in the IC as well. There is your provisional result from Heat 4 for Junior Rotax. Harry Freeman P1 on the road, but we will note that the 278 is under investigation. Jacob Ashcroft P2, Charlie Wolfett P3, Archie Lovett, Matteo Palazzo, Sebastian Lusch all in the top 6. Good drive there from Lusch, needed that after difficulties in round 1. Isaac Barker P7, great drive from Ethan Griffiths. Didn't have time to talk about it enough, but a gain of 10 positions for the Welshman and top rookie. Finlay Lyons also needed that result.
That's better. P9 for one of the front runners in Minimax last year. And Cameron Nelson as well, plus 16 positions for Cameron Nelson. Another charge from the Welshman into a top 10 finish there. Taylor, Fox Whiteley, Buck, Fluid and Chandaria all finished in the top 15. Dixon Cohen, Minto after that incident down at Senna 1. Holmes Ballack, Wade and Hartley all in the top 20. Gray, Harper, Turner, apologies, Holland and King all in the top 25. 3 retirements from that race being John Buck and Jack Collinson, and well, 2 retirements and 1 did not start, to be exact, for Pano Stienmon Kong. And with that, that is juniors done for today. That's all of their heats done as well. They won't have any more tomorrow morning. Their super heats will be at 11:10, 11:30 tomorrow. Let's have a look at the highlights from that one. Back to the very start of things. John Buchan from pole position. Again, I liked how aggressive he was at the start of this one. Met Charlie Wolford in the middle of the circuit and was like, no, I am not losing the lead around the outside in the early stages of this heat. Through the field, this was a close moment for Isaac Barker. Back at the front of the order. Good start for Harry Freeman as well to join Wolford as there were problems elsewhere on circuit. That was Jack Collinson, or the end of Jack Collinson's departure, early departure from the race. Freeman down the inside of Wolford. That was how Freeman got the lead on the road. Jacob Ashcroft was pushing through as well. Again, that was again a repeat of the moment for Isaac Barker, who in the end would be P7. Flash moment there. That would be the end of things for Daniel Minto's hopes of winning this race. And unfortunately for John Buck and Matteo Palazzo, very lucky indeed. Got a little bit of damage off of that one, but no more than that. And at least for Palazzo, he was able to continue and record a result there in the top 5. Wolford had a +5 second penalty, knew he needed to stretch the field out, wanted to get towards the front. Did a pretty good job, if you ask me, of stretching things out. But Freeman knew that to get through, to get the race win, he needed that track position, because Jacob Ashcroft's race pace was very, very good in that one. Not good enough, though, to overhaul Harry Freeman. But, again, we'll note that under investigation at the end there was the 278. One more race to go here today at Warden Law. After this this short ad break, we'll be back for race number 11, heat number 2 for Micromax. Time for the final race of the day, Saturday Heats Day for Event 1 of the Wera Tools British Kart Championships. Micromax, their second heat is next. Let's take you through the grid. Benedictas Masiokas starts on pole. Dian Pahal alongside on the front row. Alfie Garrett and Harris Barber go from row number 2.
LBJ Stubbs and Sebastian Crawford start from row 3. Dimitar Uzanov and Albert Farrow will be looking for good points from row 4. Charlie Page and Ralph Martin complete the top 10 on row 5. Ansel Murray and Dax Farah start on row 6. Ethan Lloyd and Freddie Walker are next on row 7. Otto Amy and Chloe McGill from row 8. Arlo Gamble on British Championships debut starts on row 9 alongside another debutant, Will Wainwright. Max Arments completes the 19 runners, but I don't think Max is out on circuit, so unfortunately we won't see the number 94. We will see 18 drivers in this one. Quick rundown of the IC after one heat. Masiokas, Pahal, Farrow, Page, Uzanov, Stubbs, Barber and Amy. That was your 1 through 8, of course, in heat number 1, and it's again 0 points for the race win, 2 for second, 3 for third, 4 for fourth, etc, etc. Results from this one and the race earlier form the grid for the super heats later on today. We are not green. We are going to go around again for another formation lap here at Warden Law. So, Micromax drivers racing between the year of their 8th birthday and 12 years of age. Racing on the Vega tyres again for this year. A subtly different tyre compound for them to run upon, and conditions in terms of tyres still very good here. It's been dry, it's been reasonably temperature. I won't say warm because we're still in April at the end of the day, but it's not been too hot. We'll go with that, so it means that the track surface is very rubbered in here at Warden Law. Drivers coming through the horseshoe then. Very simple scenario for Masiokas, for the O-plate holder. Win this race, it's pole position for the Superheat tomorrow. No championship points at this stage. The first amount of championship points comes after the Superheats tomorrow, but this is still an important one for deciding where these drivers will be in that FIC. We are away and racing for 10 minutes plus 1 lap. Good start from Masiokas. Pahal checks across to hold P2 in the very early stages of this second heat for Micromax UK. They're all through the first 2 or 3 corners. Can they make it out of the dogleg? Yes, they can. Good start from our Micromax UK drivers. Good mix of competitors returning to the Mira Tools British Kart Championships, and some new ones, some new faces out there on circuit to keep an eye on. This is a very quick start though from Masiokas. Very good indeed for SFR Motorsport. Down the inside goes Harris Barber. Interesting to watch Harris Barber in this race, because those who were with us for the first of the heats for Micromax UK will remember that Harris had a bit of a hold-up in the early stages of that first heat, but had good race pace through the rest of it and was able to come back through the field. This is a much better start for Harris Barber. Through into third past Alfie Garrett a few moments ago. Could we see Harris Barber be the driver to race through and challenge Benedictas Masiokas? Because right now, Benedictas just seems to have a bit extra versus the rest of this field. It's holding the gap at half a second right now. Good scrap there. That's Ansel Murray going through past Dimitar Uzanov in the number 62. Charlie Page is at the front of this group as well. So I think Charlie Page is up to P9 now in all of that. Is indeed. Ansel Murray now into the... In fact, apologies. No, Page is up into to P8. So good progress again from Charlie Page there in the number 33. Driver based in London, in the capital. Meanwhile, back at the front of the order, Masiokas and Pahal first and second. Alfie Garrett, good response there, has got ahead of Harris Barber. So Alfie Garrett back up into P3. Garrett, another one of the drivers, had a bit of bad luck in the first race. A driver who has a good record across the course of the last year and a bit in Micromax. He's looking for another good result here. 7.5 minutes of this one to go. Masiokas still in the lead. Fastest driver out on circuit, 57.03.
Pahal a little bit further behind. There's the origin, number 16 of Sebastian Crawford. He's lost a few positions in this race, but has still got the time to make those spots back and get back up to P6 where Sebastian started. Albert Farrow's just got through for 6th place ahead of Ralph Martin. Albie J. Stubbs has also been on the move. Harris Barber losing a little bit in this one. Maybe just took a bit too much out of the machinery and the materials, and that charge back through to recover those points in Heat 1 in terms of this race. Just losing some pace now. Nice move there. That was Charlie Page down the inside of Albert Farrow. Got the back end pivoting nicely through centre 1, and that will mean that Page is now up to P7. Through Gasworks once again. So number 62 there of Dimitar Uzanov. We saw racing a couple of weeks ago at Wilton Mill and the Miami and Honda Cadet O-Plate. He's racing here in Micromax and giving it a good go indeed, trying to break up there into the top 10. Oh, I think there's been a problem there for Dimitar. Oh, just as we say, he was trying to break up into the top 10 for Dimitar Uzanov. Of course, the commentator, Uzanov now down to P18. Here's your fight for 4th place on your screens, just going through St John's Corner now, towards turn 5 and the first part of the Senna S. Riding the bumps, Albie J. Stubbs ahead of Harris Barber. What's the pace like last time around? 56.7s for Stubbs and Barber. The problem for them, though, is that the fastest driver on circuit is directly ahead of him, so they're not really closing in on Alfie Garrett right now. 56.6 last time around, very evenly matched. Credit to all the preparation by Rotax, by Jack Rotax, as well as the distributor, of course, for the engines. All of the top 5 on pace within a 1/10 of a second of each other right now. That's a lightning lap, though, from Charlie Page. My goodness me, 56.31 for Charlie Page. And has closed up to Ralph Martin. Now you just see Charlie there with the yellowish green top of his race lid. Ralph Martin in that number 32 for Strawberry Racing. Second of those Strawberry Racing runners on the road right now. 4.5 minutes to go. Masiokas leading by 3/4 of a second now. Dean Pahal looking good for a second place of the day. So in terms of intermediate classification, Masiokas would be your leader overnight, of course, virtue of 2 first places. Pahal would be a strong second. Albie J. Stubbs right now is holding on to 3rd, but only by 1 point. So the driver, the number 99 here, can hold off those 3 drivers behind. Barber, Martin and Page. Could be an inside of row number 2 start for the Superheat tomorrow here on the cards for Albie J. Stubbs, who had a great performance 2 weeks ago. Oh, beautiful again from Charlie Page. Wind up the replay machine on that one, down the inside as the Strawberry Racing boys fight over 6th place now. But Charlie Page, we said earlier, his ability to get the rear axle pivoting round and through hairpin 1, magnificent indeed, as Sebastian Crawford down the inside of Albert Farrow for a moment there. But Charlie Page, P5 now for the privateer runner, up 4 places in this race, and that's one will definitely go in the highlights reels of overtakes here this weekend at Warden Law. 3 minutes to go then. Masioka still leading, just edging that gap out to 0.8 of a second. Not a big problem though, I think, for Dean Pahal. I think if you'd offered Dean Pahal a couple of second places at the start of today, that would be a set of results warmly welcomed by Pahal and the RCE team. Page is not done, by the way. Page is now closing in on Albie J. Stubbs for P4. Stubbs still in the top 4, but in fact Page's progress has moved Charlie up to P3 in the intermediate classification right now. So Charlie Page will be on the inside of row number 2. despite Stubbs not losing any further positions, still there in 4th place. Be a bit of a charge for Page to get up to the first row. There's a gap of 5 points in the intermediate classification right now between Pahal and Page. Other changes to report: Freddie Walker and Dimitar Uzanov have gained positions, 15th and 16th places respectively. Unfortunately for Chloe McGill, having a tougher race out there. Is still circulating, still part of the main pack, but is now 17th. Meanwhile, Charlie Page, is there going to be an opportunity? He's looking down the inside into Gasworks. Another lovely move from Charlie Page up to P4. We'll go from 9 points in the standings to 8. Stubbs will go from 10 to 11 with that. Now I wonder, will Stubbs... yes, Stubbs will still be ahead of Albert Farrow. A tiebreaker situation now on 11 points, but of course Stubbs a little bit better in times qualifying earlier on today than Farrow. So Masiokas, Pahal, Page, Stubbs, Farrow currently in top 5 in the intermediate classification. Alfie Garrett with this 3rd place would still be outside of the top 8 in the intermediate classification, but would surely be moving a long way up the order after the incident we saw for Garrett earlier on in the day. I remind myself where Garrett was classified in the NEF P18 for Alfie Garrett and MLC Motorsport. They're still with a shout though. They've got the good race pace as well, which is a good sign ahead of those Super Heats and finals tomorrow, which you will be able to watch, of course, on the Karting UK and Alpha Live platform of YouTube channels. If you've not subscribed already to both of those channels, please do so. Please lend us your support. Couldn't do it without you. 20 seconds of this one to go, though. Masiokas comfortable again. 1.3 seconds clear of Pahal. Alfie Garrett P3. Charlie Page P4. I think that's how they'll bring this one home. Alfie Garrett doing a good job here to hold off the charge of Page. 56.37 last time around for Page. So the pace is still there. I just think Page is going to run out of laps here to close in and overtake Alfie Garrett, but it could be wrong. It's been wrong many times before. Benediktas Masiokas, though, what a bit of form the Lithuanian driver is in. Takes the final lap board, won the O-Plate, won the first heat earlier on today. This is a really, really strong run of form for Masiokas and the SFR Motorsport team. Had pole position, of course, from time qualifying earlier today. Quite a few in the Micromax UK ranks are going to be thinking long and hard through the night as to how they are going to be able to overhaul Benediktas Masiokas. Not impossible, of course. Tomorrow's a new day. And heats very different to finals, of course. Heats very different to super heats. The super heats often race like a pre-final. But that can all be for tomorrow. Benediktas Masiokas out of the final corner, makes it 2 from 2, books that position at the front of the field for the super heat in Micromax UK tomorrow. We'll be joined once again on the front row by Dean Pahal. A great day for Dean Pahal. 2 second places for Dean. Alfie Garrett P3, Charlie Page P4. That result moves Page up the intermediate classification and onto the inside of row number 2 for the super heat tomorrow. LBJ Stubbs will join Page on that second row with that 5th place in that one. The rest of the drivers filing in, having had a very, very good day through their free practices, their quali simulations, their qualifying practice and these 2 heats. Will Wainwright there, one of our rookies, came home after those 12 laps. That's your provisional order then. Masiokas, Pahal, Garrett, Page, Stubbs, your top 5. Harris Barber, not quite the same level of race pace that we saw from Harris in the first race, but still some good points, P6. Ralph Martin, 7th. 8th for Albert Farrow. 9th for Sebastian Crawford. Dax Farah in the top 10 there. One of the biggest movers in that race was Otto Amy. 4 places gained for Otto, up to P11. Ansel Murray, Ethan Lloyd, Arlo Gamble, Dimitar Uzunov, all in the top 15. Freddie Walker, Chloe McGill and Will Wainwright, the last of the 18 drivers who started the race. All of them finished. There was a non-start, unfortunately, for the number 94 of Max Arnott. Just to go over again the order for the IC. Benedictas 0, Pahal 4, Page 8, Stubbs and Pharaoh both on 11, but Stubbs takes 4th place, virtue of the tiebreaker. Barber on 13, Farah and Amy both on 19. Let's have a look at some of the highlights then of the last race of the day. Do stick around in the paddock. We'll have the paddock show filming in due course. And I've been joined as well by you-know-who. He's made it to us here at the circuit. These highlights, though, for Micromax UK. That was a bright start from Harris Barber. I really thought that we might see Harris Barber fire through from 3rd, but it wasn't quite to be on this occasion. Some good scraps in the midfield. Charlie Page coming through as well. That was Ralph Martin overtaking Albert Pharaoh for a position inside the top 10. But Benedictas Masiokas was leading all the time. This was the reverse angle, that amazing double move by Charlie Page, or one move that got 2 places for the price of 1, with Page on the way to P4. Good scrap as well between the 2 Strawberry runners, Harris Barber and Ralph Martin. In the end, Harris Barber finished the race quite strongly, actually did Harris, so getting ahead of Ralph Martin there for P6, but there would be no beating Benedictas Masiokas today. And there was another move from Charlie Page down the inside of Albert J. Stubbs for P4, but Masiokas a perfect day. Pole through timed qualifying, 2 heat wins from 2. Dian Pahal also strong there in 2nd place across the course of the day. Alfie Garrett in 3rd. So things wind down here at Warden Law for all of our heats. Do hope you've enjoyed the coverage. If you've enjoyed the comms, that Andrew Mellor commentary on social media and all the like. We are back tomorrow, of course. First race goes off. We've got a few more heats to go. So Minimax's 3rd heat, the A versus B heat, will be at 10:10 tomorrow. 10:30 for the seniors, 10:50 for the Hondas. So we will go live at 10 a.m. here in North East England. We'll then go into all of those super heats, running us through from 11:10 to 1:30, and then after the lunch break from 2:20 we'll have all the build-up, of course, from 2 o'clock for the finals, those 15-minute plus 1 lap finals, to see who become our first round winners of this year's Wera Tools British Kart Championships. But that's all we've got time for here today. Who we're going to see on the top step of those podiums, we'll find out tomorrow. Stick around in the paddock as well for the paddock show. That'll be up on the Karting UK YouTube channel later on tonight at 8 p.m. But for us all here at Warden Law, thank you very much for joining us. We'll see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.